Well, Elimination Chamber has come and gone. Thank God. Now we can finally begin the build to WrestleMania proper. One thing I have not been a fan of over the last several weeks on WWE television is this lack of excitement and energy for WrestleMania. And you know something is wrong when the post-show angle on the post-show has more energy to it than pretty much anything we saw on the actual show tonight. Because we had a pretty big announcement that came after the Elimination Chamber went off the air tonight in terms of the WWE Championship. But it was striking to me to watch this show. You know, the Elimination Chamber is typically a big PLE. It's become a big PLE over the years. And it was very striking to me that they were in Chicago tonight. Chicago is a big wrestling city. I've said before that I think Chicago may be the best wrestling city in the world, or at least in the country. And so I'm watching this show, and for large parts of the show, I thought it was very telling that I was watching and going, man, this crowd doesn't seem terribly excited by what they're seeing here. I don't know that I remember a Chicago crowd, let alone for a big event like this, quite this quiet before. And this has been a pattern. I've been making note of it on a lot of the WWE shows over the last several weeks. I was not expecting it tonight for the Chamber. But when this show was over, two people had won the Chamber and punched their ticket to WrestleMania. Randy Orton and Rhea Ripley. They will be getting championship matches at WrestleMania. The only question is, who will the champion be? Especially on the WWE title side. By the time we get there. Let's talk about this main event first, just to give an overview here. I liked the fact that they actually had Randy Orton go over instead of Cody Rhodes. I had figured Cody Rhodes was going to win. When I saw Rhea Ripley win the Women's Chamber, I actually think Randy Orton winning is the right way and the better way to go. Because I do think if Cody and Rhea had both won those Chamber matches tonight, that would have been a bit too much for a lot of people to swallow. Because I do think that there is a level of fatigue, more so with Cody than with Rhea. Although, based on some of the social media comments I saw tonight, maybe I'm wrong about that, and I'll address that as well. But I think that would have been a bit too much. And the fact that Randy Orton won, not that it was impossible to conceive of him winning, but I think a lot of people figured, okay, right, Cody didn't win the Rumble. Cody's been constantly screwed over by Drew McIntyre. This is how Cody gets his title match at WrestleMania, right? It's almost like a foregone conclusion. So what they did at the very end of the Chamber was the most interesting part of the entire match. The problem is that was the last 60 seconds of the match. That men's Elimination Chamber match was honestly one of the weakest Chamber matches that I've ever seen. I like the finish. I like what they did at the very end there. But as a match, one of the weakest I've ever seen, if not the weakest. The Women's Chamber, not as good as last year's. I thought last year's Women's Chamber was the best Women's Chamber match I've ever seen. And I don't think I was the only one who had that opinion. And so this one was not that, but it was still good. And so yet again, the women outshine the men. Not the first time that that's happened. But Randy Orton is going to WrestleMania, and so now the question becomes, where do you go from here, right? This is the one thing that I really liked about what they did with that main event tonight. They did something that I have been waiting for, and I have been begging for now for quite some time. They have created some real interest, at least for me, in the WWE title picture as we head into WrestleMania. We have 7 weeks left to resolve. What does that championship match look like? Because it will not be Randy Orton one-on-one with Drew McIntyre. As I sit here now, the match is Randy Orton against Drew McIntyre. It will not be that. Like, I'll guarantee you it will not be that. So what is the match going to be? You look at the world title scene, the main event picture right now on SmackDown coming out of this show. Randy Orton firmly in the mix. Cody, obviously, he's still in the mix. McIntyre's the one who's going around screwing people over. Jacob Fatu, Sami Zayn, like there's a bunch of different players involved here. And I'm not saying Sami Zayn will be involved in the title match of WrestleMania, but he has been, I mean, clearly he's been connected to all of these other people I just mentioned in the last 2 months. So that's good. And that's what I want. That's all I want. I want intrigue. I want interest. I want excitement. I want something to latch onto as we head into Las Vegas in April when it comes to the main championship. When the show was over, because Drew McIntyre got involved in the Elimination Chamber match. He wasn't the only one who got involved in the Elimination Chamber match. We had 2 masked men. So you talk about overbooked. We had a chamber match, which was bad enough that the entrances for the match, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say this, the total time that they allocated for the entrances to the men's Elimination Chamber match was almost as long as the match itself. That is preposterous. It is ridiculous. But then in the course of the match, we had Logan Paul eliminating not one. Logan Paul, by the way, who was not even supposed to be in the match. He was a sub for somebody who got hurt. Not 1 elimination, not 2 eliminations, 3 eliminations. And the crowd goes mild each and every single time. And then we have a masked man decoy that shows up. Then when the decoy gets carried off, we have another masked man who shows up. And that masked man turns out to be Seth Rollins, which of course was the predictable outcome here. But I think we all knew at the end of all this, they were going to drag this out until Seth Rollins could be revealed. So there he was. And that actually got a pop. Then Drew McIntyre runs in because the fucking door is open. So it was this like parade of just interference in the Elimination Chamber match that ultimately led to the finish. Ridiculous. The whole thing was completely ridiculous. I was not a fan of the match. But when the show was over, Nick Aldis was not happy about Drew McIntyre getting involved. And he had to be pulled away from him. And then he made an announcement that on SmackDown this coming Friday, Drew McIntyre is going to be forced to defend the WWE Championship against Cody Rhodes. So Cody, who lost the Elimination Chamber tonight, he got dropped by Randy Orton with an RKO because Randy Orton was willing to do what Sami Zayn and others have failed to do, and even Cody, right? 3 stages of hell. They've all failed to capitalize on circumstances that were presented to them that could have led to them winning. Randy Orton had no issue with that. He delivered an RKO, and so he won. But Cody is going to get the first shot. So that match is official for SmackDown on Friday. And that now creates a whole plethora of different possibilities here for where this could be going for WrestleMania. Are we looking at Cody Rhodes regaining the WWE Championship this Friday? And we're going to get Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton one-on-one at WrestleMania. It's a very real possibility that we could be looking at that. And then Drew McIntyre goes off and has a match at Mania with Jacob Fatu. Or are we looking at some sort of disputed finish? And then we do end up with what I thought when this show was over, it seemed pretty apparent to me that we were going to end up getting a fatal 4-way at WrestleMania. We might still get a triple threat. We might still get a fatal 4-way. Very possible. But now we have options, like at least until we get to Friday. Everybody who's talking about this is going to be talking about, well, what are they going to do? Which way are they going to go with it? That's a good thing. That's a good thing. This entire road to WrestleMania this year and everything that's been going on, like, this is not last year when everything was John Cena going for number 17 and the ill-fated heel turn, or the year before that, where we had Cody's story that had been building and building and building, and it was a rematch from the year before with Roman Reigns. We don't have anything like that this year. Okay, we already know this, right? We don't have to relitigate that. The road to WrestleMania up until this point has been non-existent. But they have 7 weeks now to create some genuine interest in this show and in this match. And they have the ability to do that now based on what's going on just this week alone. This could branch off in any number of directions. So I like that. I will give them props for that at least. They've at least created something that has caught my interest. I can't say that this show itself was terribly interesting. It was not. It was not. It will not go down as one of the better Elimination Chamber shows. And it's not even to say that there were matches on the show that were just, oh, this was terrible. The main event was bad. I'm sorry. The main event up until the last minute or so, I thought was just fucking terrible. But the other matches on the show, I mean, they were fine. You know, the women's chamber was good, and the other matches, they were fine. But again, there was nothing that really just kind of jumps out and grabs you by the throat. Oh, man, this was great. Or, oh, man, you got to go back and watch this. Nah, not really. There really was nothing like that on this show. It was as down the middle, kind of average as you could expect. That was kind of the story of Elimination Chamber, I thought. But, you know, we had this crate. This crate popped up on television a few weeks ago. Do not open until you get to February 28th, which is the date of Elimination Chamber. So here we are, right? And at first, I, like a lot of other people, were thinking, oh man, is this the way they're going to bring Chris Jericho back, you know, to WWE? Because Jericho supposedly was coming. Meanwhile, Jericho is still on the AEW roster page. One person is no longer on the AEW roster page. In fact, he was pulled from the page yesterday. And that person was Danhausen. And Danhausen popped out of the crate tonight. It sounded to me like there was an initial pop, and then he came down to the ring and quite literally disappeared in a plume of smoke and was never seen again. And the fans booed. The fans booed Danhausen in Chicago. And I feel bad for Danhausen because it was a no-win situation. Because you get people's hopes up. Like, I knew better. When I saw who was hanging around the crate on television for the last week or so, Los Garza, Candice LeRae, Johnny Gargano, R-Truth, what did you think was going to come out of the crate? Nothing of any real significance as far as like a main event superstar name. People were like, Bad Bunny might pop out. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? Like, it was pretty clear that nothing of any great, like, top level importance was going to come out of this crate angle. So I just kind of saw it for what it was. And then Danhausen became like the name that most people would agree on. It's probably going to be Danhausen. And it was, right? But I can understand if you were somebody in the building in Chicago tonight and you're not following that kind of shit the way you and I are, you're probably looking at this going, man, who's coming out of the crate? Like, who's coming back? Or like, what's going on here? They're saving it for the Elimination Chamber, right? So it must be a big deal. I mean, look at what happened on the show last year. We got The Rock and Cody Soul. Like, oh, what do they have in store for us this year? And then you get a bunch of women with Danhausen face paint coming out and dancing. And then this fucking creepy guy in clown makeup comes out with a jar of teeth. Like, I can understand some people being disappointed by that. But I felt bad for him. Like, they booed Danhausen in Chicago. Who was the one who said, like, anything that comes out of a crate is instantly going to be over? Was it Bruce? It was probably, I wouldn't be surprised if this was Bruce's idea. We could just blame Bruce. Danhausen, if you know what Danhausen is it's a silly, just ridiculous comedy gimmick. Nothing more, nothing less. Nobody should have expected anything other than that. I don't know why you would expect it to be some great thing. Have you watched WWE television recently? Have they really given you a lot of reasons to expect the best out of them? The answer is no. So I wasn't surprised when I saw him pop out of the fucking crate. And you know what? I'm happy for the guy. Because this is a guy who tried to get an early release a long time ago from his AEW contract. And Tony Khan would not let him out of his contract. Because I guess Danhausen was so fucking important to AEW that we never saw him on TV. So he waited and he waited and he waited. And he finally got his release, right? His contract expired. He's a free man. And so now he gets to go and actually work. And what role is he going to end up in WWE? Exactly the role that you would expect. Nothing more, nothing less. But if there are people who are genuinely upset about this, I mean, WWE set themselves up for it. But this is the company that hatched an egg on the Survivor Series one year and had the gobbledygooker pop out of it. Like, this is what we're dealing with here. I don't know why you would have expected anything more than that. But I did feel bad for him when he got booed. Probably because he disappeared and people are like, that's it? You built this up for weeks? That's it? Yeah, that's it. That's WWE in 2026. Where people come out and they aura farm for 20 minutes. Almost as long as the actual matches. This is your Elimination Chamber review, 2026. I am the Solomonster. I got a lot to say about this show, and hopefully you do too. So super chats are open. Get them on in. I will be reading all of your messages. Let me know what you thought of the crate and the main event finish and the Elimination Chamber tonight and everything that happened here on this show. Like and subscribe as well. You know, YouTube TV.
Do you feel him, sir?
I do not. Not tonight, I don't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Cody. Danhausen cursed the Vision, says Hog Dog. Well, if there is one group in WWE that is forever cursed, it certainly is the Vision. Which apparently they're going to keep what's left of the Vision together for now. I don't know why, but I guess the Vision is still going to be a thing. Seth Rollins needed somebody to feud with when he came back. What I was going to say is YouTube TV continues to hold out on the ESPN Unlimited app. We still do not have access to it. So Mike's... Hey, Trill Mexican, thank you. So my ExpressVPN always comes in very handy. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, whether I did use it tonight or not, but if I were to use it, I would imagine that I would have been able to watch the Elimination Chamber for free on Netflix. I'm not saying I did. I'm not saying I didn't. I'm just saying I'm very glad I have my ExpressVPN. I'm very glad I didn't pay $30 for this show. Very happy about that. Anyway, let's spin the wheel, and then we're going to get into the review here. Let's find out how many likes we need here for our Be the Booker segment. If you're new here, don't ask. We do it at the end of most of these streams if we hit the goal. 420. This show might have been a little more pleasurable for those of you celebrating 420 tonight. That should be easy. 420 likes minimum, and we will do Be the Booker. They claimed 19,346 as an attendance record. I assume WWE attendance record, obviously, because they were in the United Center. Usually they run all state. They were in the United Center tonight, and I just thought to myself, well, again, assuming that is a legit number, I just thought to myself, well, yes, of course. That's what happens when you only run this building, maybe... That's what happens when you maybe run this venue 3 times in the entire existence of your company. They have not run the United Center very many times. They ran it for SummerSlam 30 plus years ago. They ran, I want to say, a house show there. And then maybe this one. This might have been the 3rd show ever. 3rd or 4th at the most. So I guess that's their record. But they opened with the Women's Elimination Chamber match, which was definitely the better of the 2 Elimination Chamber matches tonight. We had Tiffany Stratton, we had Asuka, we had Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, Raquel Rodriguez, and Kiana James. Jade Cargill was shown up in one of the boxes. Of course, she was watching this and taking a vested interest in this match because the winner of this match would go on to WrestleMania to challenge her for her WWE Women's Championship. So she was watching with a keen eye to see who was going to come out the victor. Rhea, coming off a title loss last night. She and Io Sky lost the women's tag team titles on SmackDown to Nia Jax and Lash Legend. So the match, this is the first match of the night. It finally started 20 minutes into this show. And the entrances for this one were not nearly as long, I don't believe, as the ones for the men's match. But at 7:20, we were finally underway here in this chamber match. Tiffany and Kiana, they started things off. Everybody else was in their pods. And after some back and forth, Tiffany, she did a handspring flip outside. She caught nothing but one of the pods. So she slammed into the glass. So the countdown clock came up. Asuka was into the match next. Kiana was not waiting for her to come out of her pod, though. And she mounted a preemptive strike. And she went into the pod and she started putting a beat down on Asuka. And boy, was that a mistake. That didn't do a whole hell of a lot except piss off Asuka. And Asuka unleashed her fury on Kiana James. kicked her ass. She was ramming her into the side of one of the pods. Then she did the same to Tiffany Stratton. So the next one to enter was Alexa Bliss. Now, Alexa Bliss was my pick before Rhea Ripley lost her women's tag team championship last night on SmackDown. As soon as I saw her win, or lose, I should say, her match last night, I said, well, there goes my prediction. Down in flames. Because now there's no way. There's no way that Rhea Ripley is not going to win the Elimination Chamber match. She's going to be involved in a major match at WrestleMania, and the other title is already occupied, so naturally, she's going to be wrestling Jade Cargill. So we got a face-to-face here between Rhea and Alexa Bliss. And Rhea and Tiffany. There was a rolling senton, and then the prettiest moonsault ever was attempted. Alexa, though, crotched her on top. Rhea Ripley was in next. What I meant to say. So she and Alexa went at it for a little bit until all the ladies ended up outside. And Alexa wound up on top of one of the pods. She hit Twisted Bliss off the top of the pod, wiped everybody out. Back inside, she had Kiana set up for the Sister Abigail DDT, but she was wasting time pointing up at the stupid WrestleMania sign. And see, this is what happens when you point to the dumb sign instead of just wrestling and doing what needs to be done. You end up paying a very big price for it. And in this situation here, Alexa Bliss, she got misted in the face by Asuka. And then Kiana James took advantage. She rolled up Alexa for the pinfall. And Alexa Bliss, the first woman eliminated inside the Elimination Chamber match. See, this is what happened. This is what happens because her tag team partner was not in there. No Charlotte Flair. Nobody in this match who has a friend or a partner on the roster, none of the partners were in there with them. So with Rhea, there was no EO. With Alexa, there was no Charlotte. With Raquel, there was obviously no Liv. There was no Roxanne. Best wishes to Roxanne. She had surgery recently to remove I believe it was a benign tumor on her back. I would hope she's not going to be gone for too long. So best wishes to her. But again, you know, when I saw the show last night, if it wasn't a foregone conclusion, it was then that Alexa Bliss was not winning this match. If anything surprised me, was the fact that she was the first one to go out. So Raquel Rodriguez was the next woman in, and she delivered a running power slam to Kiana through one of the pods, through one side, out the other side. And I think it was Michael Cole on commentary said that the Bulldog would be proud of that power slam. Then in the ring, she delivered a Tejana bomb to Asuka on top of Kiana. She stacked them up on top of each other and pinned them both to eliminate them. We had a double elimination spot on one pinfall, which I don't believe has happened before inside the chamber. And look, it's one thing like what Roman did years ago at WrestleMania 37 when he stacked up Edge and Daniel Bryan, right? Stack them and pin them. But he was pinning one person. It wasn't an elimination match, right? It counts as one pin. This is an elimination match. So this was very silly. Like, I'm sorry. This was a very dumb spot. I know why they did it. They were trying to establish dominance, make Raquel look as strong as possible. That's fine. I just thought this was kind of dumb. So then we were down to three. Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez, Tiffany Stratton. They did a spot where Raquel got Tiffany seated on the top rope with her back turned. And so she was going to follow her up for something, we don't know what. Rhea, though, was on top of that pod. And she dove off the pod with a cannonball, took out Raquel. Tiffany then stands up on the ropes, and she hits her prettiest moonsault ever. She covers Raquel for the pin, and Raquel Rodriguez is eliminated, and we are down to two. We are now down to Rhea Ripley and Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany avoided the razor's edge, and she delivered an Alabama slam, only got two out of it. Rhea got her up for a riptide. Tiffany escaped. Rhea ended up posting herself, and then Stratton followed with a swanton bomb. She covered Rhea, only got two. Tiffany was bleeding from the nose. I didn't see how it happened. I would imagine probably one of the times she got slammed into the fucking pods. So she was bleeding from the nose. She went for a prettiest moonsault ever. Rhea, though, shoved her. Again, she went face first into the pod that was in front of her. And then she got her back in the ring. She delivered Riptide for the win. And Rhea Ripley is going to WrestleMania to challenge for the championship. I like that it came down to Rhea and Tiffany. And they did the same thing in the main event with Cody and Randy. I like it, and maybe you can't do it all the time, but I like it more often than not when you have it come down, and it's no different in the Royal Rumble match, when it comes down to two people who could plausibly win. I liked it when they did it in the Rumble last year with John Cena and Jey Uso, and probably a lot of people figured John Cena was going to win that, and I'm watching this going, Jey Uso's winning this fucking match. I like when they do that. And once Alexa Bliss went out, because again, I thought she might have a chance of winning, it was pretty clear Rhea was going to win, but if anybody had a shot other than Rhea Ripley, like, you could see it being Tiffany Stratton. That's not the match I wanted to see. We've seen it a bunch of times already. I don't have any interest in seeing that as a WrestleMania match. But you could at least argue, okay, maybe Tiffany might go over here. So I like that. Because you always want to keep some drama in that situation. Tiffany took a beating in that match, by the way. She was bleeding, but I mean, she took some hard bumps in that match. I thought Kiana James, for her first, not just her first chamber, but her first like big match in WWE. I thought that she looked good in that match. I thought that and they set her up for a big night because she was the first one in to start the match, and she was in there for about 20 minutes. So she had no shot of winning, but I thought she had a good showing. I thought Raquel looked good in the match as well. Again, I know that they were trying to make her look dominant with that double pin. I just thought that was a goofy spot. Rhea Ripley winning this match makes sense. Let's talk about this, okay? Rhea Ripley winning this match makes sense to me. Some people I know are not going to like it. It is a fresh match that we have not seen before. It's tough to do that. Because it feels like so many people, and this is why it's good to call up new people from NXT. You get some new faces, Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Obafemi, and then women as well, Jordan Grace or Sol Ruka or whoever it may be. Because you just see the same faces against each other over and over. Look at Cody and Drew, right? Over and over and over and over and over again. So it's a fresh match that we have never seen before. Two women who are very strong, right? It's like two powerhouses in the women's division clashing head to head for the first time. And Rhea Ripley has been out of the world title picture now for a year. The last time Rhea Ripley held a singles championship in this company, almost to the day, was a year ago when she lost the women's world title on Raw to Io Sky. And they all went on to have that great triple threat match at WrestleMania. Since then, she's challenged for it because she wrestled Io at Evolution for the belt, didn't win it. But she has not held championship gold in the singles division in a year. So a lot of time has gone by. I know it feels like Rhea is always in the catbird scene. She's always got a belt, right? She had the women's tag team belt. There's a reason why Rhea Ripley is put in these situations, because Rhea Ripley is super fucking over. And this is a company that has been besieged by injuries over the last few months. And I know they wanted Bianca Belair back for this show in a perfect world, and it would have probably been Bianca and Jade, and so Bianca was not able to be back in time. But they've been besieged by injuries, and they've just had a lack of depth on the women's side, especially on SmackDown. And you just look at the options that were out there, and realistically, you're looking at, okay, Bianca's out. What are you looking at? You're looking at Charlotte, which was my next choice, and they bounced her out of the qualifying match. That's why in my mind I was thinking Alexa Bliss, because then you can find a way to work Charlotte in there because of, Charlotte and Alexa, and there's issues between the two of them. And maybe you do a triple threat. I'm not a huge fan of doing all these multi-person matches, but this is what they've set themselves up for. This is not the strongest WrestleMania card this company's ever put together. So that was what I had in my mind. Like, you could do Charlotte, Alexa, Jade, and do that match at WrestleMania. If they weren't going to do Charlotte, the only other option was Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley is one of the biggest, not just stars in the women's division. She is the biggest star in the women's division, number one. Number two, she's one of the biggest stars in the entire company. So if you don't think that they don't want Rhea Ripley in a prime spot of WrestleMania, you're a fucking fool. Now, I was worried that they were going to have her stuck in tag team hell against Nia and Lash and the Bella Twins. And I'm like, why would you do that? Right? I was hoping that that would not happen at WrestleMania. So I'm very happy to see that. But again, why would you think that Rhea Ripley would not be in a position like this when they have intentionally kept her out of the title picture and holding a championship for a year? I had a couple of people on social media tonight that I was going back and forth with who were like, it should have been Charlotte Flair. And I laugh because, and again, if it were up to me, it would have been Charlotte, but I laugh because you know damn well that if they had gone with Charlotte Flair instead of Rhea Ripley, you would have so many people losing their fucking minds. Oh my God, I can't believe they're going back to Charlotte Flair again. Here we go again. Charlotte Flair getting another title match at WrestleMania. Like, tell me I'm wrong. You can't, because you know I'm not. Charlotte and Rhea, I mean, look at Charlotte. The last time Charlotte held a world championship, singles, was WrestleMania last year. She lost to Tiffany Stratton. She's been out of the title picture almost as long as Rhea has. They've had her stuck in the tag team division as well, which is the best thing, honestly, that could have happened to Charlotte Flair. You talk about people getting sick and tired of somebody being in that top spot, right? People were sick and tired of seeing Charlotte Flair at the top of the card. So you mean to tell me that it would have been okay to have Charlotte Flair in that spot, but not Rhea Ripley? Really? Give me a fucking break. You would have had as many people or more pissing and moaning about Charlotte being back in the title picture as you will with Rhea Ripley. I have no issue with Rhea Ripley going to WrestleMania. I'm not even saying she's going to win. Now, she's going to have her hands full with Jade, because Jade is not at the level of the most elite women they have in that division. She's not. She's not. She just has not advanced to that level. She's been there now for a few years. She's not there. So you want to put her in the ring with women that are going to give her the best chance of going out there and having a great match. Rhea Ripley has had a lot of great matches at WrestleMania. So if anybody can give Jade a great match at WrestleMania, I would think Rhea would be on a short list of people who could do that, right? Charlotte might be one. Io might be one. So again, I have no issue with them doing that match. It's the strongest possible match, honestly, in terms of just name value that they could have done. And this is going to be the biggest match of Jade's career. You want her to go in there and not, have a bad night. You put her in there with Rhea Ripley, it's a pretty good chance she's going to end up having a good night. This was not as good as last year's Women's Chamber, but it was definitely the better of the two chamber matches tonight. It was still a good match, but, again, that main event tonight, I know we're setting a low bar here, but easily this one clears the men's chamber match. I will say this, though, and somebody brought this up to me, and I was thinking about it, and this would have been very interesting. What they could have done, this is kind of thinking outside the box, or the crate, as it were. You could have really surprised people and shocked the world by having Raquel Rodriguez win this match, with the idea that Raquel would kind of pull a swerve and want to be inserted into the women's world title match at WrestleMania. And that doesn't really work because the stipulation was very clear. This is for a shot at Jade's title. But if there was a way around that, right? Think about it. Like if she decided, you know what? I want a shot at the women's world championship, which Liv Morgan, who won the Royal Rumble, is already getting a crack at. But now that turns into a triple threat match. And you've got Liv and Raquel fighting for the same title at WrestleMania. And furthering the drama with it, because there's always drama with the Judgment Day. That would have been very interesting. And then you still would have had 7 weeks of television to get to wherever you want to go as far as Jade's title and deciding on a challenger for Jade's belt. Because you got 7 weeks of TV, you got to keep things interesting, man. You got to keep things moving along here. So you could have made that work. Like there were ways where they could have made that work. It's an intriguing idea, but at least now we know the field is set and we know who the challengers are going to be. Now, the only other thing I'll say about this is this. I don't know what this means for Io Sky. That's my only concern in this. Io is the best they have, honestly, in that division. She's one of the best wrestlers in the world. She's a lot of fun to watch. She has great matches. One of the few people that even on a bad night where the fans are very quiet, you could always rely when Io's in there to really just light up the crowd. She's great. And it would be a sin for them not to have a decent role for her on that WrestleMania card. We now know it's not going to have anything to do with Rhea Ripley. And she's not going to be wrestling for the tag team titles, which is good. But she needs to be on that show. You cannot hold Io Sky off the Elimination Chamber and then not have her in a match, a decent match, at WrestleMania. You can't do it. And I actually do have faith in Triple H on this one thing, because if you watch WWE Unreal, it's pretty clear that he thinks very highly of Io Sky, right? He was singing her praises and saying all these great things about her. So I'm hopeful they will have some role for her on that show. Is it a U.S. title match with Julia? I don't know what else it would be. What else would it be? I don't know. That would seem to be the likeliest option. Now, if you want to throw more women in there, I guess they could do that, but she needs to have a fucking match on that show, and not some throwaway match, not some fucking match on SmackDown the night before. Fuck that. She needs to find a role on the WrestleMania card. That's my only hope. I'm glad for Rhea. Congratulations. Io cannot be left out of the conversation, because to me that would just be completely ridiculous. Becky Lynch against AJ Lee for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Wade Barrett on commentary pointed out that he has had a singles match more recently than AJ Lee has, which is a wild stat to think about. But it's true. Prior to tonight, AJ Lee's last singles match was a Raw match in 2015 against Nikki Bella. Wade Barrett actually wrestled, I believe his last match was in 2016. So he has had a singles match more recently than AJ Lee has. Now, Jessica Carr was the referee, and I mentioned this a few weeks ago. I said, let's see who the referee is for this match, because I'm thinking that Jessica Carr, because they haven't really focused on that too heavily recently, right? There was a lot of issues between her and Becky, and then they kind of got away from it. I said, let's see if they come back around to it on this show. So when I saw that she was the referee, I said, okay, something's going down here. So early in the match, Michael Cole said that Becky was looking to take down AJ Styles. And I mean, who wants to tell her that she missed her chance? Who wants to be the one to tell Becky Lynch the bad news? AJ Styles ain't around no more. You ain't going to be able to take him down. First part of the match was Becky just kicking her ass. And the Chicago crowd it just sounded like they were sitting on their hands for most of it. They finally started a very light AJ Lee chant. And they got into a slugfest, as much as you can buy a 5-foot-tall, little, petite woman getting into a slugfest with somebody. I wouldn't say that AJ Lee is a brawler. I wouldn't say that her strength is not throwing hands with people, but that's what she was doing here with Becky Lynch. She caught Becky with a bulldog coming off the ropes. That created some separation for her to try to get back into things here. She landed a tornado DDT off the ropes and then caught Becky with a shining wizard that Michael Cole tried to sell as a finish. That did used to be one of her signature moves. The audience wasn't buying it, or maybe they just didn't realize it because she hasn't been around in so long. Becky exposed one of the top turnbuckles at this point. She ripped the turnbuckle pad off. Referee was checking on AJ, so Jessica did not see it. AJ went up top for something, but Becky cut her off, followed her up. So we got a superplex. Boy, Asuka is very angry tonight. She did not win the Elimination Chamber, so she is not in a very good mood. But she hit a superplex off the ropes, and she transitioned into an armbar. AJ, though, countered into a pin for a 2 count. So at this point, Jessica Carr looks over, and she realizes that the protective padding has been removed. So she picks up the turnbuckle pad, and she's going to try to replace it. So as she's in the process of doing this, Becky shoves AJ into her in the corner. And it was weird because she sold it, like the referee sold it, but didn't really take a bump for it. She was like, oh. But then she quickly went down to count the attempted fall. So then Becky threw a kick at AJ, ended up nailing Jessica in the head with it. And this knocked her out cold. So now Jessica Carr is down. AJ got a Black Widow applied. There was no referee. So Becky ended up taking AJ outside the ring. She's beating her up for a while. Then she slid a chair into the ring. Jessica, still down, by the way. Nobody's come down to check on her. She's just laying there dead. So AJ suddenly made a comeback outside, and she's battering Becky up against the barricade and puts her back in the ring. Becky, though, plants AJ on the chair that's in the ring with a DDT. And then she got rid of the evidence, and she went to go wake up Jessica. And then she dropped AJ with a manhandle slam. And she covered her. Jessica's over to count. AJ kicks out at 2.5. Now the crowd's waking up now, finally. So Becky goes to throw her into the exposed buckle. But the referee got in the way to stop her and says, no. You can't do that. Becky came charging into the corner, though. She was because AJ was in the corner. So she comes charging into the corner. AJ sidesteps her, and Becky goes face first into the exposed steel. At which point, Becky stumbles backwards, and she feeds right into a Black Widow. AJ gets the hold applied. And she didn't really wait too long before she tapped out. This was like the Gunther tap out in the sleeper hold to Jey Uso at WrestleMania last year, where Jey Uso got the sleeper applied and Gunther really didn't sell it for too long. He just quickly tapped out. And that's what Becky Lynch did here. She tapped out here. And AJ Lee, for the first time in 12 years, is a champion again here in WWE. Let's talk about AJ Lee first. We saw AJ Lee in the WrestlePalooza mixed tag match last year. And that was a good match, right? But it was a tag team match. So she didn't have to really carry the full brunt of being in there for the full 15, 20 minutes, whatever it was. This match, I think, went about 15 minutes. And for someone who hasn't had a singles match in all of these years and doesn't really wrestle a lot even now at all, I thought she looked fine. It was very slow in the early going. It took a while to really get going, and the crowd was like, the crowd really didn't sound too excited about it. And Becky was getting the heat on her for so long. Then she made her comeback, and then it kind of built to the finish, and it was fine. You know, she was not like she was in there embarrassing herself or she looked like she was gassed or anything like that. I can't say the same for Punk in his match, but we'll get to that. So I thought Becky looked fine. I thought AJ Lee looked fine here in this match, especially for someone who has been gone for so long and hasn't had a singles match. But it's exactly like I said coming into this match. Watch for Jessica Carr's involvement. And if you are going to do a title change in this match, which I was hoping they would, Jessica will factor into the finish of the match. Becky will have something to rant and rave about when we see her on TV this week. And it will feed into a rematch. You can run this back again, maybe with a stipulation for the championship at WrestleMania. And if the idea is to get the belt back on Becky, put the belt on AJ now. She doesn't need to win it at WrestleMania. You're in Chicago. Put the belt on AJ Lee here on this show. Because if AJ Lee is only going to appear sporadically, I don't want to see her with the Intercontinental Championship. I don't want to see anybody walking around with any championship if we're going to see them only sporadically. They don't need to be a champion. They're a special attraction. They don't need a belt. If she's going to be around, great. If she's not, then I would rather put the belt on her now, let her get a little run with it, run it back in Las Vegas, and get that fucking thing off her. So I had no issue with them putting the belt on her tonight. This felt like it was the right place to do it. And if the idea is that they're going to do this again, then Becky could always win the belt back. Now, to be honest with you, I don't even really need to see Becky Lynch win the belt back. If we're being perfectly honest here, and I said this on Twitter, I would be fine not even doing this match again. Because they have really been building up this issue for months now between Becky Lynch and Jessica Carr. Now, Jessica Carr, for those who don't know, she did wrestle previously. In fact, I think a number of months ago, I want to say it was last year, when they had a bunch of, might have been Evolve tapings or I don't know if it was LFG. I think it was Evolve. She wrestled on those tapings under a different name. I think she was under a mask. So it's not like she hasn't wrestled before. She could absolutely wrestle one match. Are they building to a match between Becky Lynch and Jessica Carr? Now you could look at this and go, well, why would they have her wrestling a referee? Because it's an angle. We say, why do we have Bad Bunny in the fucking ring? Why do we have Jelly Roll in the ring? It's a fucking attraction on the show. Jessica Carr's been around now for a number of years, and the fans seem to like her, and they've clearly been building some sort of story here with her and Becky. There's got to be some sort of payoff to all this, so where else would it be going? If they weren't going to do a match at some point, where the hell else would this be going? So I would be fine if they wanted to do Becky Lynch in a match, just a one-off match, her and Jessica Carr at WrestleMania, and then let AJ Lee go defend the Intercontinental Championship against somebody else, and let her drop the belt to somebody else. And the name I threw out there is Roxanne Perez. Now, hoping and assuming that Roxanne will be recovered and she'll be back in time for WrestleMania. I don't know what her health status is with her back, but let's assume that she'll be okay for WrestleMania. What else would she be doing on the show? That would be the perfect role for her. I think Roxanne, the work that she's put in over the past year has been great. And I think that Intercontinental title was tailor-made for someone like her. Right? Not to say she can't be a women's world champion at some point, but she's not in that mix right now. That title would be perfect around her waist for her to bring that belt into the Judgment Day. And I think for her, it would be a real thrill because if I'm remembering, I believe she was a huge AJ Lee mark when she was younger. She's like the biggest AJ Lee fan. So for her, I'm sure she'd be thrilled to be working a match with her at WrestleMania. So yeah. I would have no issue with that. I'd actually prefer to see that. Let Becky go off and do her thing with Jessica Carr and let AJ defend the belt against someone like Roxanne at WrestleMania. I think that'd be great. Oh, we got our boy Boots. I spotted Boots with a Boots bomb. It hasn't even popped up on screen yet, but I just saw something pop up out of the corner of my eye. Boots was here.
He's sticking his tongue. WAZZZAP. Like, what the fuck? He's sticking his tongue. WAZZZAP. Like, what the fuck?
Said Boots was here. Does that mean that Boots is leaving? Like a hit and run? I hope not, Boots. You better stick around. Knicks lose again. Just subscribed. I didn't even know they were playing tonight. Hey, Boots. You're the man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Always good to get a Boots bomb here on the stream. Now, we talked about AJ Lee, so we got to talk about CM Punk. He was up next. It was a Chicago home... Oh, my God. This woman is so angry. It was a Chicago homecoming for CM Punk as he defended the World Heavyweight Championship here against Finn Balor. So Balor made his entrance first. I'm very happy, by the way, that he is back to using his better theme music. And then it was time for CM Punk's entrance. He got a special entrance tonight. This I enjoyed. So they dim the lights, and then we hear Sirius by the Alan Parsons Project, which was a nod to the Michael Jordan era of the Chicago Bulls. Or it could very well be a nod to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Take your pick. Because that was Ricky Steamboat's music in WWE many years ago, which is why whenever they show his old shit on the vault on YouTube, it's all, or really anything, DVDs or anything, is always edited out. It's not the music he used to come out to. And don't discount the possibility that that was done intentionally because today happened to be Ricky Steamboat's birthday. Happy 73rd birthday. He's 73 years young. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I'd like to think it was a nod both to the Jordan era of the Bulls and to Ricky Steamboat as well. Didn't they work together in Ring of Honor? I thought that Punk and Steamboat, even in AEW, I think they did, right? Wasn't that with Ricky Starks and the strap match stuff leading up to it? I can't remember now. Anyway, happy birthday to Ricky Steamboat. But they also had the old PA announcer, Ray Clay, who used to deliver the introductions for the Jordan teams. He delivered an introduction for CM Punk, who they showed in the back, walking out of his locker room. And before he came out, they did play his Cult of Personality theme. So anyway, a little special entrance for him. I thought that was very cool. So they start the match out, and Balor, before long, is targeting Punk's midsection for this long stretch. A very long, quiet stretch that dragged on for a while as Punk got worked over. Balor slipped out of a GTS attempt. Punk followed with a suicide dive and a flying clothesline back in the ring for a 2 count. So both men fought on the ropes. Punk fell to the mat, and Balor went for the coup de grace. Punk was able to avoid it. And then Punk, who came up with a bloody mouth, he came back with a diving elbow off the top. He got the Anaconda Vice applied. Balor escaped. He rolled Punk into a pin only for a near fall. So Balor went up top. He did finally hit the coup de grace, and he covered Punk, did not get 3. So Balor showed frustration. He starts looking over towards the entrance. And on commentary, Michael Cole wondered if Balor was thinking twice about telling Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough to hang back. Because if you remember on TV, Balor said, I need to do this alone. I don't want anybody's help. I'm going to do this by myself. So maybe he was starting to have second thoughts here. Punk hit Balor with a GTS. Balor, though, fell out of the ring to the floor. Punk followed him out. He got put down, though, with a sling blade. Balor followed with a shotgun dropkick that sent Punk through the timekeeper's barricade. Got to have at least one of those on every show. There you go. We hit our quota. So Balor rolled Punk back in the ring. He followed, and Punk hoisted him up for a GTS. Balor slipped out. He dropped him with another sling blade. Balor put Punk down with a shotgun dropkick, and he was going for another coup de grace. Punk, though, was ready for him. And on the way down, he caught his leg, he transitioned into a sharpshooter. Not a very good one. He was struggling to get him in position for it, but he tried. I myself am a big fan of the sharpshooter, so I'll cut him some slack, but this was not the best sharpshooter that you'll ever see. He looked very tired. Punk looked more tired in this match than AJ Lee did in hers. Balor reached the ropes to break the hold. Punk held Balor's right arm. At this point, he starts throwing kicks. He pulls Balor to his feet, hoists him up for a GTS, and it connected flush, and he pinned him to retain the title. When the match was over, Balor, he shoved Punk. They stared at one another until Balor put his hand out. He extended his hand for a handshake. Punk accepted. There was a little nod of respect in there between the two men. I'm sure that won't go over too well with Liv Morgan on Monday night. AJ Lee at this point ran out with her new Intercontinental title. She got in the ring to celebrate with her husband, and they both had their belts, and they posed, and it was a nice moment here for the two of them. Look, I thought it was a good match. As crowd reactions go, Punk versus John Cena in Chicago, this was not. This was definitely not that. I'm not saying I was expecting that same atmosphere, but again, Chicago tends to be one of the hottest wrestling crowds that you will find anywhere. And this is CM Punk in Chicago. Obviously, he got a great reaction coming out. I was hopeful that maybe there would be this great atmosphere here for a big Punk title match. Maybe who knows? Maybe the last title match. Maybe the last title defense he'll ever have in Chicago, right? Who the hell knows? And we did not get that here. They worked a very methodical pace. And look, they already announced what the main event of WrestleMania is going to be. We knew this weeks ago. We know it is Roman Reigns against CM Punk. By the way, I don't have it in front of me, but I know Roman Reigns on Twitter, I believe. He was sticking it to Punk. He made a post, and he said something. I don't know who was more tired, the crowd or the champion tonight. See you on Monday, because I believe Roman is supposed to be on Raw this Monday. So I'm not the only one poking fun at the quiet crowd and how tired Punk looks. So, hey, don't look at me. Roman said the same thing. But we already knew what the main event was going to be. Like, nobody in their right mind honestly believed that Finn Balor had a prayer of doing anything in this match other than taking the pin 1, 2, 3. Because that's what he does. That's why I call him Pin Balor. I've been calling him that for years before anybody else was. Literally years. I've been calling him Finn Balor. There's a reason for that. Maybe if this company did not book Finn Balor as a low mid-carder for so many years, maybe they would have had a little bit of hope that things might have gone differently, even in that television match they had about a month ago. But this is what happens, you know? It's like all of a sudden they woke up at the beginning of the year and they said, okay, we're going to do something with Finn Balor here. We're going to have him in a little mini feud with CM Punk, and he'll have a couple of title matches, and that's great because I like Finn Balor, but let's be honest here. the way that he has been booked now for the last, I don't know, fucking 3, 4, 5 years, he hasn't exactly been booked as anyone that you would look at as like a main event player in this company. He has been at a certain level. They have not done a whole hell of a lot to convince you that they look at him at this stage at any level above the level that he has been at. So when you put him in a situation like this, you're looking for drama. You're looking to try to convince the audience that maybe this match might go a different way. Maybe, just maybe, he might actually walk out as the world champion. There was no chance of that here. People knew that. So that didn't help. In terms of the reaction and everything, people weren't buying into the near falls. People weren't buying into Finn Balor as a challenger to the world heavyweight title here. It doesn't matter how good of a wrestler he is. It doesn't matter. They're not buying what they're selling. So that did not help matters. But Balor said he wanted to go it alone here in this match. And then he shook Punk's hand when the match was over. I think he did the same thing in Ireland when they had that match in Dublin, right? Or wherever they were. No, it wasn't Dublin. Where were they? I don't remember now. Belfast. That's where it was. I don't want to piss off the people of Belfast. Like, we ain't Dublin. It was Belfast. But that's what created problems with him and Liv Morgan. So here he is again, losing, shaking hands with CM Punk. Now we have this match on Monday night where Dominic, who wants Balor and McDonough to be there to help him, is defending his Intercontinental title against Penta. I still think the direction for WrestleMania is going to be Balor and Dom, whether there's a title on the line or not. Might even get the Demon back for that match. We'll see how that story plays out. Again, we have several weeks to go before we get to WrestleMania, but again, Dom has a title defense on Monday, so we shall see. I want to pause here and just thank everybody for hanging out with me here, 2,600 strong, here on a Saturday night for this Elimination Chamber review. Get those super chats on in. We got a lot to go through here, but we have a...
Look at Richie Rich
there it is.
over here dropping all this money on me.
I was waiting for it.
I just want you to know, I think you rock. I don't mean The Rock, A Rock. You rock. And I just wanted you to know that.
I don't know if he's still with us, but man, Boots with the bomb.
Holy shit.
That's usually the way it works when it comes to our boy Boots. Thank you, brother. Hey, Bader, what's going on, Bader Muhammad? So then after a bunch of commercials, it was crate time. Are you ready? There it is on screen. We got to talk about the crate. They dimmed the lights in the building. And they cut to Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, who were on stage, and they had crowbars. And they were using the crowbars to pry the crate open so we could see what's inside. And when the front part of the crate popped off, what did we see? We saw a wooden coffin inside the crate. And then once the coffin opened, out walked several female dancers. I didn't count how many. It was at least half a dozen. Female dancers that were wearing face paint very much like Danhausen's face paint. And they all come out and they're dancing. I think they were singing. And so at least now we know why they chose to do this entrance, by the way, by the stage and not in the ring. Because I could have sworn that on television, Adam Pearce had said that just ship the crate to Chicago. Me and Nick will open it together in the ring. Well, given what they did here, you couldn't well do it in the ring because they had multiple people who were coming out of the box. So it had to be done the way they did it on the stage. But we heard Danhausen's voice, and then we heard what will be his music, and he emerged from the coffin. And I'm pretty sure that I heard a pop, small pop, but I do believe he got an initial pop. Once people realized who it was and he initially came out of the crate, it wasn't overwhelming. It did not last very long, but it was there. I know what I heard. I know what I heard because, again, this crowd was mostly quiet for the entire fucking show. So believe me, if there was a pop to be heard, I heard it. So he comes out and he and all of the women are making their way down the aisle on their way to the ring. And he circles the ring outside. He walks over by the announce desk, and he places his jar of teeth on the announce desk in front of Michael Cole and Wade Barrett. And Michael Cole does not know. He's just puzzled by all of this. He doesn't know what to make of any of this. He's looking at the jar. Wade Barrett congratulated Cole on getting his first set of dentures. Danhausen enters the ring as the women danced, and then there was a puff of smoke. And then the lights went out again, the music stopped, and the fans in Chicago, they booed. And then the lights came back on, and Danhausen and the dancers were gone. And Michael Cole wondered, what the hell just happened here? I'll bet there were a lot of people in the crowd wondering that same thing. I was wondering that the moment this fucking crate showed up on TV. Nothing good has ever come out of a crate in this company, or an egg, or anything else, or through a wall in WCW. It was a ridiculous concept from the beginning, and that should have been a dead giveaway about who or what was going to come out of this thing. Even just the idea that a human being would be locked inside this crate for 12 days, like, that's why I joked, like, you really think it's going to be Jericho or Seth Rollins is going to come back? Like, dude, they're going to pry that crate open and their dead body is going to come tumbling out. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? This was a gimmick that was tailor-made for someone like Danhausen. Now, should they have done it on, a PLE like this? No. Because then you end up with the reaction that you got. You set people's expectations high because they love doing these mystery angles. They do them back to back. The mystery man, the mystery crate, the mystery meats. Like, if it's a mystery, believe me, they'll do it. They love their mysteries. But people just assume, man, you're building this up for weeks and weeks, and we got this big show coming up, and it must be something big. So you can understand why people would be a little disappointed, either to see Danhausen or that he showed up and then proceeded to do absolutely nothing. He came down to the ring and did nothing. He didn't speak. He didn't do anything. He just disappeared. And everyone's looking at this going, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of this crate nonsense for that? Really? You can understand why they would be disappointed. It's still, though, but I still felt bad, though, because this is Danhausen's big WWE debut, and when it was over, it went over like a fucking fart in church, and people booed. So now what role does he settle in on TV? He's going to be like the mascot. That's basically what he's going to be. He's going to be the mascot of WWE. Like when they had the Gobbledygooker all those years ago, there was talk about the Gobbledygooker was going to be like at least the annual Survivor Series mascot. I think that was the original intent behind it. And I think they just realized, man, this is fucking stupid. We got to just pretend this never happened until years later. And they just sort of embraced it. And he was in the gimmick battle royal at WrestleMania. They would trot him out there for anniversary shows. But I think that was the original idea. He would be like the mascot for Survivor Series. And I think that's basically what Danhausen is going to be here in WWE. And who knows? I mean, maybe he'll interact with some people high up on the card. He and Punk are like this. Maybe Punk will be like, hey, I want to do some stuff with Danhausen. But I certainly would not have CM Punk doing anything with Danhausen as he is building up his match with Roman Reigns for WrestleMania. Let's wait a little bit before we have any sort of real interaction with Punk and Danhausen. What's he going to do? I mean, who cares? It's whatever it is, it's going to be just comedy fodder for the show. I mean, that's what the character is. The character is not meant to be taken seriously. But I do think it's something that could get over with the audience in kind of like a fun way. Some sort of like mid-card comedy act that gets over with certain people or gets over with kids. I think it could work. I think they could sell Danhausen merch. It's like what Mr. Iguana is whenever he's out there with the fucking puppet, like La Yeska on his shoulder. I mean, that's basically what this is. But you don't see, a giant crate with Mr. Iguana popping out of it. So I just think the timing and the location for it and the way they did it, it didn't do him any favors, unfortunately. But yeah, Chicago did boo Danhausen, unfortunately. That's like the Eagles fans in Philly booing Santa Claus. I mean, you can't be doing that. What are you doing here? Anyway, that was it. That was the crate. That was the big reveal. Nothing else was said about it, and they just moved on and tried to pretend that it didn't even happen. Well, we only had one match left because we had to do the crate angle. We couldn't fit a fifth match on this PLE because we had to do the crate angle and because we need long entrances on this show. And that was the story here of the beginning here of this match, because they close with the men's elimination chamber. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, LA Knight. And I think maybe we just found LA Knight's opponent for WrestleMania. LA Knight against Danhausen at WrestleMania. Can't go any worse for LA Knight than the night he had tonight. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, LA Knight, Javon Evans, Trick Williams, and Logan Paul. Logan Paul qualified for this match last night on SmackDown with a win over Jacob Fatu because Jey Uso was taken out by a mystery assailant. Are we going to get a resolution to this story? Are we ever going to find out who attacked Jey Uso? Maybe. Maybe yes, maybe no. I honestly don't know. They had to get out of that as quickly as possible because Jey Uso was never intended to be in the Elimination Chamber. It was supposed to be Bronson Reed. He got injured. He's already had surgery for a torn bicep. He's on the mend. So they just substituted one Vision member for another. Instead of Bronson Reed, we have Logan Paul. I think they said this was Logan Paul's third Elimination Chamber, which is kind of crazy. Has he really been around for that long? I mean, I guess he has. The first match that Logan Paul had in WWE would have been what, 2022? It was that tag match, right, with The Miz at WrestleMania. That had to be WrestleMania 38, I think. So, yeah, he's been around almost 4 years at this point. It's pretty crazy. Trick Williams was out first, and the crowd was vibing with his theme music, right? They were chanting, "Whoop that Trick." See, the importance of good theme music. Trick is a great example of that. He's one of the few that they've actually gotten right. Now, I unfortunately did not time all of this. So I don't know what time all of these entrances started. But every single person who came out here was, as they say, aura farming, taking their sweet time, going from pod to pod. So each time someone came out, you got to go stare at this person. You got to go stare at that person. You got to go stare at that person. You got to pose for the crowd. You got to climb on top of the pod. You got to cut your toenails. You got to read a magazine. You got to make a fucking sandwich. My God, if I tell you how long these entrances were, it now had to go at least 15 minutes. I didn't time it. There's no way these entrances went any less than 15 minutes. And it felt like a lot longer than that. And when this match was over, the entrances, and I shit you not, were almost as long as the match itself. That should never, ever happen. I mean, it is astonishing. Absolutely astonishing. It's no wonder they only have time for 4 matches on these PLEs. When Javon Evans came out, he was bouncing around for his entrance. And he was saying into the camera, you know, I'm nervous. Right? It's his first Elimination Chamber. It's the biggest match of his career so far. He's going to be in there with Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and the great Logan Paul, right? He's going to be in there with some big names here. So he's saying, I'm nervous. Apparently he was not as nervous as the ring announcer was, as Mark Nash announced him as not Javon Evans, but he announced him as Javon Williams. I was just like, hey, you know, shit happens. I think it was actually far worse a few weeks ago on Raw when Michael Cole referred to Javon Evans as Kofi Kingston. I think that was a little bit worse. So Cody Rhodes was out last to start the match with Javon. They went at it for a little bit. Trick Williams entered next as the third man. Logan Paul was in next at number 4. He got thrown through one of the pods by Cody and Trick, and he ended up through one end and out the other end of the pod. And that was the second time on this show that they did a spot like that. That was after the Raquel spot in the first match where she did the running power slam through one side of the glass and out through the other. So that's a new thing they're doing now. So there was a point here in this match where Logan Paul hit his, they call it the snapshot lariat, but he did his version of the buckshot lariat. And again, when he vaults over and he lands on his feet, he's got the wobbly legs, and I don't know why he continues to do it. I don't know why he continues to do it if you can't make it look as good or better than the guy that you stole it from. I don't know why he insists on continuing to do this move. LA Knight was in next. He went right after Logan Paul, who he once beat to win his one lone singles title here in WWE. He beat him for the U.S. title at SummerSlam a few years ago. That feels like a fucking lifetime ago now. And obviously he's part of the Vision. LA Knight has been dealing with the Vision going back almost a fucking year now. So of course he went first for Logan Paul as soon as he came in. Logan ended up on top of one of the pods. Javon Evans, though, climbed up with him, as did LA Knight. And the two of them then launched Logan off the top of the pod with a crossbody, and they collided with Cody Rhodes and Trick Williams in the ring down below. Then Logan dropped Javon on top of the pod that they were standing on with a BFT, which did not look great because they didn't have a lot of room to maneuver up there. And also, like, how stupid of LA Knight, because of course they were both down after this because he also went down and landed on the fucking pod, so he hurt himself. So now they're both laying there on top of the pod. As the countdown clock ticked away, Randy Orton entered the match last. He was mowing everybody down, and the crowd was pretty damn quiet for all of this. Quieter than you would think. It's Randy Orton. It's like Orton making a hot tag in a tag team match. So he hit a double draping DDT to Logan Paul and Trick Williams. Then he struck his pose. RKO is coming. LA Knight, though, spins him around, plants him with a DDT. So everybody was down except for Javon. Javon was finally back up on his feet on top of the pod. He stands up and off he dives with a frog splash onto Trick Williams from the top of the pod. Worked out a lot better for him than it did for Rob Van Dam in the first Elimination Chamber when the ceiling wasn't quite as high as it is now. And of course, RVD came down across Triple H's larynx with his knee, crushed his throat. No problem here for Javon Evans. He's got a lot more room up there to maneuver than RVD did back then. But then, after he lands the frog splash, Logan Paul grabs Javon Evans, and he plants him with his pulverizer finish, and he pins him. And Logan Paul eliminates Javon Evans. He dropped him right on his fucking neck. Like, it was a nasty landing that Javon took on that move. And then the crowd just goes mild. Like, Logan Paul is very good at getting heat. It's one of the reasons they probably really enjoy using him, is because he's a heat magnet usually anytime he goes out there. He pins Javon here, and the crowd doesn't boo. They go mild. It's like I hit the mute button by accident. They weren't making any noise. I don't know if they were just stunned. I don't know if they were just like groaning, maybe a combination of both. I don't know. But they didn't really react to this. And so Javon Evans is the first man eliminated. And I just hope he didn't get hurt on that spot. Before I went live, I was checking. I didn't see anything mentioned about his neck or his health or anything like that. But that landing looked nasty. So then, unfortunately, there was a bad botch where LA Knight he does this every match. And usually he hits it okay, right? He's had some flubs in the past, but I feel like it's been a while since he's fucked it up. But he does that move where he's standing and he'll do the kind of the jump up onto the ropes and then do the big dive off with the diving elbow. So he went and he jumped up and he slipped on the ropes and he fell off the ropes. Now he didn't fall off the ropes like the Demon did all those years ago against Roman Reigns when the rope broke and he took a fucking face plant on the mat and the Demon died that night. It wasn't quite that bad. But he slipped off the ropes and he fell back down, landed on his feet. I mean, you could hear the crowd, man. They were like groaning. And I'm sure he felt like absolute fucking dog shit. Like, oh my God, what do I do here? So instead, he did a standing elbow. He jumped up in the air and he just did a diving little elbow drop off the mat here. And then to make matters worse, like that would be bad enough, right? And I'm sure he's going to beat himself up over it. There's a big spot for him and he fucked up one of his moves. As if that isn't bad enough. This whole like little sequence here was just horrendous for LA Knight. Because he goes from that to taking a nut shot from Logan Paul, who then rolls him up and pins him. LA Knight has been eliminated from the Elimination Chamber. I don't think this could have gone any worse for LA Knight if they tried. And again, part of it was his own fault. But for the botch to happen where it did, and then for it to immediately segue into him taking a nut shot and getting pinned, you can imagine the crowd reaction to that. It was just like, what are we seeing here? So this is now the second elimination for Logan Paul here in this match. But I mean, this was just absolute death for LA Knight, who once again is fucked over by a member of the Vision. Then, now, and forever. Death, taxes, and LA Knight taking an L from the Vision. These things will never change. They will be consistently true until the end of time. And as far as what you do with LA Knight at WrestleMania, I know there was that rumor that at one point he was slotted in for a match with Brock Lesnar. I mean, really. It wasn't looking likely, obviously, with this open challenge they just announced. But if there was any chance of that before, I could just picture like Brock. I mean, the idea of Brock Lesnar sitting at home watching this show is funny enough, but like I could picture him sitting at home watching this going, I'm not working with this fucking guy. We could do better than this. Yeah, I don't know. I'd put my hands in the air. I don't know. We're going into WrestleMania. I don't see a role for him on the show. I really don't. So then Trick Williams, he avoided a pulverizer, which is good because he almost killed Javon Evans with it. But Cody hit him with a crossroads, and then Logan tossed Cody into the ring post, and he stole the pin on Trick. This was Logan Paul's third elimination of this match. In case you were wondering why, if the crowd wasn't already dying, they died a little bit more on the inside watching this. I don't think these people could believe what they were doing here. Like the match was just kind of bad enough as it was. It was just sort of, it was there. Like this match is kind of limping along here. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching here? Everything is falling apart. This is boring and there's no life to it. There's no excitement. This is the main event. There's nothing else after this. This is it. Where's the excitement? Well, part of the problem is you just had Logan Paul eliminate 3 people from this match. So now he's got 3 eliminations to his name. And I would say it killed the crowd, but again, they were dead already anyway. So then right on cue, the door is open. Trick is, he's rolling out of the cage. He's trying to get out of the cage. And here comes another masked man. Now, if you saw Smackdown last night, we had a masked man running in the main event. And Logan pulled his mask off. And I looked and I said, I don't know who the fuck that is. And neither did Joe Tessitore. He had no idea. It was a decoy, right? We knew it was a stand-in. We know it's not going to be whoever the final person would end up being revealed as. Apparently, it was one of Seth Rollins' students or someone who trained at his academy and wrestled on AEW Dark, I think, a few years ago or whatever, right? No one of any consequence to any of these storylines. And so now we have another masked man who begins to scale. He doesn't run into the cage, but he is scaling the chamber. And so he gets pulled down by officials who run out there to pull him down, and they're dragging him down the aisle, and Adam Pearce runs out. And Adam Pearce pulls the mask off the guy, and as was the case on SmackDown, I'm looking at this guy. He's got blonde hair. It's not me. I'm looking at the guy, go, I don't know who the fuck that is. Like, what are we doing here? So Pierce is like, get him out of here. And whoever this guy is, maybe another student, I don't know, they drag him away. We get another masked man. And I'm watching this, and at this point, I could see where it's going, but I'm like, this is so preposterous. Like, this is so stupid. This match is a fucking disaster at this point. To go from the LA Knight shit that we saw, Logan Paul 3 eliminations, another unmasked man that we don't even know. Now we have another man in black. And this man, because the door is still wide open, this man very casually, he walks into the chamber. He super kicks Logan in the midsection. So now he's down. And he comes off the ropes and he delivers a curb stomp. And I'm looking at this guy and just his mannerisms, and I'm like, okay, that's Seth Rollins. Like, when I saw that guy on SmackDown last night and the way he was moving around, you know what he reminded me of? He reminded me of Mikey from the Spirit Squad. I don't know. There was something about the way he was like jumping up and down. I'm like, that ain't Seth Rollins. But I'm watching this. I go, this is Seth Rollins. And sure enough, he goes to leave and he pulls the mask off. And it is, in fact, Seth Rollins. And it got a pop. We actually got a pop. We got a pulse here from the fans in Chicago. And they cut to a shot of Paul Heyman outside the chamber. And he has to sell this now. So he's selling this as shock and awe. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, he's saying. Cody looks up at Rollins. Rollins looks back at Cody. And then Rollins makes his exit through the crowd. And on commentary, they're wondering, is he back? Is he medically cleared? You know, we don't know. And, you know, tune into Raw Monday night. We'll find out. Maybe we'll hear from Seth Rollins. So the one thing I will say that they got, maybe the only thing, frankly, that they got right here in this match was the final two. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. This is what I was hoping for. When I did my predictions, I said it should come down to Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton because that's where the story is. It's not Logan Paul. It's not LA Knight. It's not Trick Williams. It's these two right here. And like with the Women's Chamber, you want it to come down to two people where it's 50-50. Like I could see Cody winning. I could see Randy winning. This is great. That's the one thing they got right here up until this point here in this match. So they didn't get to do a whole lot though because the door is still open. And here comes Drew McIntyre. I mean, it's like a revolving door of bullshit here in this match. Drew McIntyre comes up the stairs and he blasts Cody in the back of the head or the side of the head with the WWE Championship. And he gets into the ring. Cody fights him back, but, you know, Drew beats him down until Randy Orton finally, he was just watching all of this, but finally Randy Orton comes over and he drops Drew with an RKO. And Cody then delivers a crossroads to McIntyre. And Orton's like cheering him on, like, yeah. And he gives him a crossroads. And as soon as Cody pops back up to his feet, Randy Orton drops him with an RKO. As he should. And then Randy Orton covers Cody Rhodes. And he pins Cody Rhodes to win the Elimination Chamber match. Yes, open door. It's right. Falcon Star said it right. We had an open door policy in the Elimination Chamber tonight. I'm not even, again, I don't even know where to start with this. I already said my piece about the entrances being almost as long as the match itself. It is what it is. As Elimination Chamber matches go, this was easily one of the, if not the weakest one they've ever done. It's the weakest one off the top of my head, and I've seen them all. And I haven't been a fan of all of them. Some of them I like, some of them I love. Like when I think of the Elimination Chamber matches that I really love, I think of the first one in 2002. I think of the one in 2017 when Bray Wyatt won the WWE Championship. I thought that was a great one. And I could pick others as well, like the one where John Cena took everyone's finish and, you know, got beat and like, oh, we're guaranteed to have a new champion. Like there are memorable Elimination Chamber matches. This was not one of them. This was most definitely not one of them. And it was overbooked to all hell. We had two masked men and a Drew McIntyre run-in just in this one match. But the match itself, it was just devoid of any excitement up until the last, I'd say 60 seconds, maybe 90 seconds. We got a 25-minute match here. And you got about 90 seconds of genuine excitement at the very end. 25 minutes to say nothing of the 20 minutes of entrances. So I want you to think about that. 45 minutes to get to 90 seconds at the very end. It's not worth it. That should never happen with your main event. Like, what are we doing here? And there's just a lot of times where I'm watching these shows now, and I'm not trying to knock the talent, but my God, like I'm watching some of these shows, and I don't know why am I the only one who feels this way. And this goes for the television shows sometimes also, where I'm watching it and it just feels like, just in general, like they're going through the motions. And that's what this match felt like to me. I didn't feel that way with the Women's Chamber, but there are just times where I'm watching, I'm like, why does it feel like they're just going through the motions here? Like what's missing from this? But very alarming watching this show, how quiet Chicago was. And again, I'm not blaming Chicago. It was very alarming. I think there's a message in all this. Whether or not that message is received, I don't know. But it was very noticeable. This is typically a hot wrestling crowd, and hot is not a word I would use to describe them tonight, or this show for that matter. Definitely not. But I will tell you what I do like, because I don't want to show you that I'm not a negative Nancy about everything. I did like Randy Orton winning, and I like what they did with the finish. And I like that this at least heats up this road to WrestleMania now when it comes to the WWE title situation, which is something they desperately needed to do because they just didn't have that one really hot story around the title heading into the show. Like the World Heavyweight Championship has already been locked down. We already know what that's going to be. And once Roman Reigns is back, and we'll see what they do with him on TV this week, but like I think back to that first promo and everybody was all fired up and it was great. It was a great like opening salvo for their feud. But now you got to try to replicate that on the other side, right? You got to try to replicate that on the SmackDown side now. And now that we've gotten this fucking show out of the way, now we can focus on WrestleMania itself. And hopefully now is where things really start to heat up in a big way. You've got Drew McIntyre, you've got Cody Rhodes, you've got Randy Orton, you've got Jacob Fatu, you've got Sami Zayn. Throw him in there as well. All of these guys have been, in the same orbit. They've all been kind of interlocked now for quite some time. And the question now becomes like, how does this all play out? What does this look like now? As we head into WrestleMania. When the show was over, I mentioned this at the beginning, they shot a big angle when the show was over, in case you missed it. Nick Aldis was not happy about Drew McIntyre involving himself in the Elimination Chamber match. This is not the first time that Drew has gone against what the GM has said. He has ignored what he has told him to do. And Nick Aldis finally had enough. And he said, okay, here's what we're going to do. On SmackDown this Friday, you're going to defend your WWE Championship against Cody Rhodes. So we have a big title match now. This is going to be the second time this year, by the way. Second time in less than 2 months, or about 2 months, that these two are having a world title match on TV. That match is going to take place on Friday. And when this show was over, before this even happened, I'm watching this going, okay, well, we know now it's going to be a fatal four-way at WrestleMania. Because Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu have both been screwed over by Drew McIntyre more than once. I mean, Jacob just got screwed over last night by Drew McIntyre. Let alone in his qualifying match a few weeks ago. And Cody, we already know what happened to him. So it's like, you've got 7 weeks to figure out how you're going to work these two guys into that match, because it's only fair that you at least give them an opportunity to work their way into the title match. Then I see that they're doing a title match on Friday. The easiest path would be to just put the belt back on Cody and do Cody and Randy and finally tell that story. Cody and Randy at WrestleMania. Cody beats Randy. Randy snaps. Match is over. Drops him with an RKO. Maybe even a punt kick for good measure. Maybe at that point we find out that Randy Orton was also the one, or shortly thereafter. But they wait until like the turn happens, and then we find out that maybe he was the one who attacked Fatu. Like, again, there's any number of ways you could go with that. I just say that because if Cody wins the belt back on Friday, which I think there's a possibility that he will, I don't see them taking it away from him again at WrestleMania. Like, are they really going to take it away from him in January, put it back on him in March, take it back off of him again in April? Like, I don't see them doing that. I think it's more likely if they do Cody and Randy, Randy loses. And then Randy goes heel. And then they have sort of an extended feud. So you could do that, and then you could just do Drew and Jacob one-on-one. And then Sami Zayn, I mean, Sami Zayn, I guess maybe against Trick Williams. Otherwise, I don't know what you do with Sami Zayn. But I'm not convinced that they're going to do that. I mean, I could see some sort of fuck finish, bunch of people get involved, and you just kind of go from there, and you figure out how you get to that fatal four-way match, you know, with Drew, Cody, Jacob, and Randy at WrestleMania. Those are the key players. If you're going to do a multi-man match at WrestleMania, I don't want to see 5 or 6 or 7 guys in there. Like, I'm sorry, Sammy. I don't want Sami Zayn thrown in there. Like, no. 4 is my limit. You got your 4 key guys. Like, okay, fine. Beyond that, we don't need to turn this into a 6-pack challenge or, you know, something ridiculous like that. But I like that it at least opens up a few different avenues now that they can go. SmackDown to me now all of a sudden becomes must-see in a way that it wasn't 24 hours ago. Like, I'll be tuned into SmackDown with more interest than I usually have this week. Absolutely. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Actually, I won't be here on Friday. I just realized I won't even be here on Friday. Well, I'll watch it. I'll watch it when I come home. I'm going to be in Chicago. I'm going to be in the city that I just got done talking about. Because we got House of Glory. Oh, son of a bitch. I forgot all about that. That's this week. Naturally, they would do a WWE Championship match on Friday. But anyway, once I do eventually watch the show, I will be settled in to see what they do on SmackDown, and we'll be watching with great interest because obviously this is going to be a very important show now, you know, as it pertains to WrestleMania. So we'll see what direction they go. All I wanted, though, was some intrigue. I wanted some intrigue in this title picture on the road to WrestleMania. We now have that. So let's see where things settle. But this is good. This is a good thing. It feels like they're trying to maybe shake things up a little bit. You don't know exactly where it's going to go. That's not necessarily a bad thing. So to me, that's like the one good thing that actually comes out of what I thought overall was just a very average event. You know, it wasn't a terrible show. It wasn't a great show. It was very middle of the road, very average. If you missed it, you didn't really miss much. It was one of those nights. It was not the Elimination Chamber from Toronto last year. I will tell you that. It definitely was not that. But at least now we have some more intrigue here in the world title picture. I cannot say the same, though, for the rest of this show. The Danhausen thing, look, it went over like a lead balloon. We talked about all the reasons why. I don't know what people expected out of it. It's a fucking crate. What were you expecting? It's a crate. 37% thumbs up for tonight's show. Yes, it was safe, as most WWE shows are. They make their money. They could play it very, very safe. 37 up, 63% thumbs down, with almost 2,000 votes in so far. That is a down score for the Elimination Chamber. Not good. A box-like structure. Yeah, well, look, there's always the Chamber next year. But the women win again.
Look at Richie Rich over here dropping all this money on me. Hey, I just want you to know, I think you rock.
He's back.
I don't mean The Rock, A Rock, you rock. And I just wanted you to know that.
Oh, man, Boots. Boots is laying down the hammer. Why couldn't we have Boots pop out of the crate tonight? I could get behind that. Ava says 2 good matches, 2 bad matches. 50 out of 100. What was your second bad match? I assume the main event was one of them. What was your second bad match? Was it the AJ match? Man, I don't know why I thought that I was here this Friday. I just got done telling all of you on the Smackdown stream last night that I won't be here next week. Hey, Chi-Town Smark, what's going on? That's Jesse. I will see you on Friday in Chicago, brother. I'm looking forward to it. Apparently, I will be there, even though I just had a brain fart and I forgot. I was like, oh man, we got a WWE title match on Friday night. Now it's like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll be watching that on Saturday, I guess. Joseph, I hope you're doing well, brother. He dropped a few here. This is wrestling or martial arts. Wrestling. I'm not doing a martial arts podcast, am I? The Cotton Club. I've actually never heard of that before. One movie you watch on Saturday nights. I'm usually working on Saturday nights. I'm doing final prep for the podcast on Sunday. But if I was going to watch a movie, it could be any number of. It's no one movie. I like to pick something I haven't seen before from my ever-growing watch list of stuff that I have to watch. I would recommend a movie to you, though, called The Guest that came out a number of years ago. It was sometime in the mid-2010s. Good movie. Great soundtrack. Do I think Kiana James is a future world champion? Too early to tell. I thought she looked good tonight. I think that she certainly has the potential to develop into a world title caliber performer, but it is way too early to be thinking about whether or not she'll actually make it there or not. Not everybody does. Says, I'm so happy Nick Wayne and Mother Wayne are back. I, too, am very happy that Mother Wayne is back. Says, my cousin met Jack Perry and Anna Jay today. That's very cool. Lucky guy that Jack Perry is. I don't have a favorite version. But Joseph, thank you for all the love. I hope you are having a great, or you had a great Saturday. It's now Sunday, but I hope you had a great Saturday, brother. Olivia, much love from Bulgaria. South Park or Family Guy? Family Guy. God, there's an IG page I follow that just posts the occasional random Family Guy. Yeah, how Family Guy has these like random cutaway segments. Those are the best. They make absolutely no sense, but I laugh every time. Death Scythe, how funny, he says, would it be if Stone Cold Steve Austin answered Brock Lesnar's open challenge? I hope I didn't just wish that into existence because I would not put it past WWE, and I don't want Austin to die. Steve Austin is happily retired, and he is not answering the open challenge, so you do not have to worry about that. Steve Austin may be a lot of things, but stupid is not one of them. Base Beerus, please, someone give Rhea a dumbbell. Yeah, she was doing pull-ups on the grate inside her pod. Rhea still looks absolutely gorgeous. Okay. It says, so my ads consist of Disney programs and Wheatley vodka. It's weird, from what I've heard, when you use a VPN and you watch on Netflix internationally, it's weird. You get a mix of commercials and then you get breaks where you don't get the commercials. And you have that, it's just kind of like that landing page with the music in the background, a little countdown clock in the corner. I don't know why you go back and forth. Like you get some ads, but not all the ads. Dried Chicken says, I double dog dare Tony Khan to invite Travis and Bad Bunny to AEW. Yeah, I think we can leave Travis out of that. Nick says, the commercials are out of fucking control. It is wild to look at a pay-per-view from a few years ago compared to what we have now. They don't even do backstage interviews and segments anymore that are not ads. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks, and it makes for a terrible viewing experience as compared to the way it used to be, but unfortunately, this is how it is now, under TKO. And it's not going away. This is how the product is going to be from now on. Ah, it depends on the location that you pick. I see. St. Clair, what's going on, man? He says, I know it's not a recent change, but why don't they announce wrestlers' weights during the intros? I wonder, I don't know. I wonder if it has to do with they want consistency and they're not going to do that when it comes to the women. So maybe because they don't do it with the women, they just don't do it with the men. It stopped many years ago, and I don't remember if there was a specific reason why, but that would kind of make sense to me. As women's wrestling really started to gain traction and pick up in WWE, they just said, let's just not do that. Dry Chicken says WWE/TKO less is more approach is not working. No, see, the problem is it is working. They're still making money. If they weren't making as much money or selling as many tickets, then you could say it's not working. But as long as they're still making money and selling tickets, then they have no incentive to stop doing it. St. Clair says, what would be the phrase at the beginning of your WWE theme?
Monster.
That'd be the great Def Rebel intro for my theme song. Just monster and a roar. And then I come out to some generic rock. Dry Chicken says, unlike Sami Zayn, Randy Orton did not choose misery. Misery, misery. You did whatever it takes to win. He did. He saw an opening and he took it. He didn't hesitate. Cody Rhodes hesitated against John Cena at WrestleMania last year and it cost him the championship. Men's Chamber was the worst match of the night, says Chicago for MBK. I agree with you 100%. WWE deserves all the boos for the Danhausen reveal. Yeah, but I feel bad for Danhausen, though. Wasn't his idea. I wouldn't think. Also, they should not have Cody beat Drew next week. Yeah, I mean, if they don't, I'm okay with that. Because, again, you could still set up an intriguing match for WrestleMania. But if you want to do Cody and Randy, I'd be okay with that, too. It would suck for Drew, though, to get this close to actually walking into WrestleMania as the champion and then have it taken away from him. Venom Katetsu, I thought another new Triple H era was in the crate. It might be. It might still be in there somewhere. There were a lot of things that came out of that crate. Who's to say that they didn't leave some more stuff in there? I'm sure we'll be hearing about the new era, the newest new era very soon, probably after WrestleMania. We'll have another new era. Johnny Burney, TKO have come to their senses that Drew is not a WrestleMania headliner and they will take the belt off of him to do Randy and Cody. At least Fought 2 against Drew will be fun. I don't know. We'll see. You're assuming there's going to be a title change. We'll see. Powerful one. If they really want to sell WrestleMania tickets, make it a 6-man Hell in a Cell with Cody, Jacob, Sammy, and Aleister Black. Give Stone Cold a blank check. Here, Steve. Write whatever number you want. Be the referee. Triple H can thank me later. We do not need a 6-man Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. We just had 2 Elimination Chamber matches. I'm okay with not having a Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania. Bork Laser 89. Just shut the fuck up and enjoy the product, Solo. I was scrolling on X and saw somebody said that to you on your Becky and Jessica Carr post. LMAO. Love the show, man. Yeah, there were a lot of dum-dums that I was, unfortunately, I had the displeasure of hearing from tonight. I didn't even say anything bad about it. I was just making an observation. And then I took one look at the and this is usually the way it works. If somebody has an irrational or a response that seems very irrational, just take a look at their profile. And 9 times out of 10, that will tell you everything you need to know. Especially if you could just see it right in their avatar. As soon as I went on that person's page and I just saw Becky Lynch everything. Becky Lynch in the banner. Becky Lynch the pin photo. Becky Lynch. I'm like, you know what? I know people who are big fans who don't react the way that this person did. This person clearly has something going on. And I was like, okay, we're done with this. This conversation's over. There's no sense in arguing with somebody like that. I mean, I get being a fan, but there's a difference between being a fan and being whatever the hell that was. Death Scythe. I predict that Jacob will cost Drew the title, to which Drew invokes his rematch clause, and Nick Aldis also adds Jacob to the title match. I can't believe my Drew, Cody, Randy, Jacob match that I had pitched could actually come true. Oh, it could definitely. I think it's probably the likeliest scenario at this point. Honestly. Down Bad. Didn't watch the show, but from what I saw on Twitter, it was a bunch of hype moments and aura. Trash. Yep. Pretty much. Hey, Oscar with a 5. CM Punk locking in a sharpshooter on pin. That shit hurt my soul. Well, you had to know that he wasn't going to submit because it's pin Balor, right? He's not going to submit. He's going to take a pin, which is exactly what he did. DJ says, are the helicopters still circling your house, Solo? Triple H is looking for Royce Keys, I think. Nope, I have not heard them today. I have not heard that. Although when the stream was over last night, they were still flying around. These fucking helicopters. They were probably still, I would say they were still buzzing around until like 2 a.m. Looking for what? I have no idea. Daniel says, wow, Danhausen was in the box. Great booking, Triple H. Dry Chicken says, the Elegance brand is better than the Vision. I'm not really honestly, I'm not really terribly inspired by any of these groups. You could put the MFTs in there. You could put the Wyatts in there right now. I'm trying to think, is there any group at the moment? Is there any active faction in any promotion right now that you would look at and say, man, I'm a big fan of theirs, or that group is cool, or this is the #1 faction in wrestling? I mean, there's so many great talents in the Don Callis family, but I hesitate to mention the Callis family because it's just so ridiculous that there's so many fucking members there. Dubs Vids. I hate the ring announcer. He sounds like he's straining to take a shit. Horrible. And not everyone who comes out of a box gets over. Fail. Well, they proved that tonight. GMB says, Women's Chamber missed Bianca. She is the GOAT in them. She's had some great chamber performances, absolutely. Let's see here. The Mox. Oh, the Death Riders. Oh my God. The Death Riders. The Conglomeration. Yeah, no. The Rascals. Yeah, the Rascals are pretty good. Trill Mexican says, man, the 2026 Elimination Chamber makes December to Dismember look like WrestleMania 17. This show will be nominated as the worst pay-per-view of 2026 without question. But Solo's review will not be bad at all. Now, Solo's review is, it's never bad. Some may be better than others, but it's never bad. Thank you, brother. Alexander with the $4.99. Cody lost the chamber and still got a shot at the title. Why have the chamber match at all? I'm sick of Raheem. Yes, but Cody, he didn't get the title match at WrestleMania, though. Right? It's all about WrestleMania. See, that's the difference there. Paul E. $20 super chat. Hey, chat. Solo, keep up the good work. You're the main source of awesome wrestling content. Thank you, brother. When is Hog coming back to Los Angeles? The plan is May. I know the dates. We are not announcing it just yet. I will leave that up to the powers that be. Yes, there are other powers that be. But we're looking in May. So stay tuned. Mr. Rod, with all the current injuries, does this year give you WrestleMania 32 vibes? Oh God, I hope not, because WrestleMania 32 fucking sucked. Trust me, I was there. So I sure hope not. You know, these injuries and the reshuffling of the card and everything they've had to do, it could end up being something that actually creates... I think Cody even said this the other day, and he's not wrong, that WrestleMania could end up being a sleeper show this year. But just the idea that WrestleMania would be a sleeper show, like, that's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, WrestleMania should never be a sleeper show. That's the problem. The fact that it might be a sleeper show, that's a problem. Marquand, Danhausen versus R-Truth, WrestleMania pre-show main event. Yeah, they don't do matches on the pre-show anymore, though. What do you think this is? 0 hour? Jeremy Rose, Jacob will screw Drew out of the title. Cody versus Randy, Jacob against Drew in separate matches at WrestleMania. Also want to see Tiffany against Io. Yeah, I mean, that'd be a big match. With nothing on the line, though, what would be the impetus for it? Like, why would... I don't know, why would Tiffany all of a sudden have an issue with Io unless the idea is that Tiffany is upset that Rhea beat her in the chamber? Like, if Tiffany's going to go heel, I could see that. Or maybe she attacks Rhea on SmackDown one week and Io comes to save Rhea and we end up with Io against Tiffany. That I could see. But to me, that really, it works better if Tiffany goes heel. Philip says, and all I'll say is poor Danhausen. Yeah, I think he'll be okay. Chicago for MBK ticket prices act as a barrier for hotter crowds. That's definitely part of it. I've said this before. Like you're pricing out a certain segment of the audience. People are still buying tickets, but who are these people? And it may well be that they don't react the same way as other fans would react at these shows. Or maybe they're not as invested in the product week to week. They're not following the ins and outs of the product, but it's kind of the hot thing to do. And so they buy tickets to go to these wrestling shows. Like, I don't know, but it's been a noticeable trend, usually on TV. Like I've noticed that on Raw and SmackDown sometimes also. But for a Chicago crowd, they claimed 19,000 people in the United Center, and it sounded like less than half that. It's pretty crazy. St. James says, let's see here. Do you watch it at home with a frown? I watched it at D&B with my goth Puerto Rican lover. Even took a photo I paid $20 for. Reminds me of that woman who posted that tweet earlier today. Did you see that one? The cheerleader who apparently was very unhappy with the photo that she took with Obafemi at the whatever the event was, some kind of meet and greet, I guess, in Chicago. And Oba is like, taking a picture with her and smiling and everything. And she's like, and she tagged him in it too. My first and last ever meet and greet with Obafemi because he didn't do the special pose that I wanted him to do. He was refusing for me and everybody else. It will be my last photo with Obafemi. Oh, I'm sure he's devastated. Get the pom-pom. Yes, get the pom-poms. It's okay. I'm sure she could see a therapist. She'll be okay. She'll find a way. She'll find a way to go on. She'll find a support group. As long as she has a good support system, I think she'll be okay. ZOMG Ruler. Is WWE trying to suck on purpose? They are trolling us. Alexander. Jim Cornette said that anyone that comes out of a box is instantly over. We now have proof for the first time that, and I quote Maury, that was a lie. Jeremy says, why don't WWE have the Royal Rumble winner declare who they pick during the Raw after the Elimination Chamber? Would make the Chamber less predictable and make that Raw more entertaining. Isn't that what Roman did? I mean, they're not going to do it with... I mean, they might do it with one, but not the other, because they want to drag it out. They want to drag it out. That's the whole purpose of it. They want to keep people guessing. They want to, you know, play it out in some sort of angle on TV. Who are they going to choose? Oh, I'm going to show up on the other show next week. I'm going to scout the other... as if they don't know who the other fucking champion is, and they haven't been watching them on television for 5 fucking years. Oh, I'm going to go scout the champion. Like, get the fuck out of here. Nonsense. Nick, I would boo Danhausen too if I paid what people in Chicago paid and he came out and did a shitty dance. Yes, but you know what? Those people paid for exactly what they paid for. They had to know what they were going to get. I don't have any sympathy for them. At this point, you really, I mean, you got to be pretty dumb to not know what you're going to get when you pay for these shows. Like, you have a big enough sample size now to draw from where you kind of know what to expect here, right? You're probably not going to get anything terribly extraordinary unless you get like a great match. I'm talking like in terms of like a big angle or something like that. Like it's pretty fucking rare. They play it very, very safe and very, very cautious most of the time. Can't really say, oh, I was expecting something else. Bender McSimpson, buy or sell. Alexa Bliss is a heel or a babyface? Spoiler, both answers are correct. Alexa Bliss as a heel. AWOL, Oba needs the Brock push and win the belt at SummerSlam. It's fine with me. I think the Brock push actually worked very well for Brock. Jeremy says Punk just called Roman Rusty Reigns on the post show because he never wrestles. LOL. As a response to Roman tweeting how the crowd and Punk looked tired. I mentioned that. See, I wasn't the only one to make that observation. I'm not just pulling this shit out of my ass. Thank you, Jeremy. Shapey, 99 with the 10 spot. Well, we got Gookered tonight. How does Lesnar, Logan, Theory versus Seth, LA, and Javon sound for WrestleMania? That sounds pretty terrible as far as a Brock Lesnar match goes. He has an open challenge out. So you mean his open challenge is going to turn into a 6-man tag? I mean, I think the other stuff is fine. Could always plug Braun Breaker in there if he comes back early enough, but no, Brock should not have anything to do with that. Death Scythe. I have a song recommendation for everyone. Daemonen by Stallman. Such a badass song, and it could easily be Gunther's new theme song. and it's a lot better than most of Def Rebel's material. All right, well, there it is. Damonen by Stallman. Stallmann. For the people who end up listening to this, that's the song. Stephen Harper. Stephen, thank you for the 20. So, were the Dancing Danhausen girls shipped separately, or were they all squished together inside the one crate? I feel like this is an important question that demands an answer. That is actually a very good question. I would think that the coffin was a portal to another dimension, whatever dimension it is that he's from. And so when the door swung open, they were entering from a totally different dimension. Either that, or it's just like some of these terrible stories you hear about where people are just trying to get away from some, war-torn country or something, and they'll just all kind of squish together in some sort of shipping container and sail the high seas until they land somewhere. I don't know. Maybe that's what was going on here with the crate. I have no idea. I counted at least 6 different women. Plus Danhausen would be 7. That's a lot of bodies. Chicago for MBK, tired of the WWW, I think he meant WWE, gate money brags, fleecing fans, BS. They've been bragging about this shit for the last couple of years. And every time they would do it, and they would have like the ring announcer announce it in the middle of the ring and everybody would cheer, I just sit here and laugh. Nothing funny about that. We'll be hearing that at WrestleMania. Yeah, but I just laugh. It's like, oh, yay. We helped you set the gate record. Clapping like seals. Boots. Oh, man, we're only first getting to the first bomb. Boots, thank you for that $100 bomb. We have got Whizzle. Cody, Drew, Orton, and Fatu. 4-way elimination on night 1. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do it, you can make it an elimination match, but are they going to want to do that? Yeah, they're very protective of people. They don't like to put them in a situation where they have to be eliminated, even though that's really what the Elimination Chamber is. I'm just saying, though, are they going to want to do something like that? I'd love to see it. Holiday 197 says, hey, Solo, it's pretty clear we're getting a fatal 4-way between Drew, Orton, Cody, and Fatu for the title. Who would be your choice to walk out the winner of that match? It is not predictable. It's not Drew and it's not Cody. So for me, it would be Orton. Only Orton, because the story is there with Cody. And maybe somebody turns in that situation. Maybe Orton ends up turning. But really, I would love for it to be Fatu. I'd love to get some new blood in there. I think Jacob would be a great choice. So I'm kind of torn. Story-wise, Orton. But I'd love to see Fatu take it. You really want to shake things up. There you go. Get a new face in there. Julian. What's going on, Julian? 1999. First Chicago show tonight. Crowd felt hot in patches, but not as molten as I expected. Just booked Hog in Vegas, hoping to finally say hello and make up for missing you for drinks and NOLA at WrestleMania 34. That was a fun Mania. Actually, both New Orleans Manias were very fun. I was really looking forward to it being back there this year. I'd be going. I mean, I guess I am going to Vegas, but anyway, yes, I am planning on being there. I should probably book my travel if that's the case. I have not done that yet. I'm a little scared to. But yes, I am looking forward to it. Hopefully, we will all be able to see each other. I got a lot of people who are going to be coming out for that show. It's going to be a good time. I'll be able to get in and then get out the next day. So I can make it back here in time to do all of the live reviews for WrestleMania that weekend, because that is going to be a very busy weekend. And I need to be here. Julian, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Hopefully we will make that happen. Manu. The Vision's masked attacker is Andrade. He jumped ship again. Hey, if anybody could pull it off, it's Andrade. The way he's gone back and forth. I don't want him in the Vision, though. I don't want him in the Vision. I don't want him attacking the Vision. I don't want him to have anything to do with the Vision. I like what he's doing right now. Jeremy says, who do you think Penta faces at WrestleMania? As champion, IC champion, or if he loses? I think Oba is facing Brock, so LA Knight is free. That's my thought. Yeah. All depends on whether or not he wins that title on Monday night. I could see some sort of multi-man Intercontinental title match if he wins it. If he doesn't, I don't see LA Knight against Penta. I don't see LA Knight against Penta in any situation. Andrew says Terminator or Terminator 2 Judgment Day? Terminator 2. Retro KOH, Danhausen will be the new Boogeyman. A couple of matches and random cameos and that's it. Well, Boogeyman has made a whole career out of it. They still bring him back for special appearances. I think Danhausen would probably be pretty happy with that. Jeremy says, why does WWE think they can unveil Danhausen like this knowing their audience has no idea who he is? They are so arrogant and dumb. I got nothing. I got nothing for you. I got nothing to dispute what you just said. Boots with another $100 bomb. Danhausen, new leader of the MFTs once they kick Solo Sikoa out. You want him in the MFT vortex? Why would you do that to Danhausen? Do you hate him that much? You would put him with the MFTs? Maybe he'll put a curse on the MFTs. You know what? The idea that I've pitched before, where you turn the MFTs, the long-term plan is to turn them into a bumbling babyface faction. Because I know this could work. But maybe it all begins with Danhausen putting a curse on the MFTs. And once he puts a curse on the MFTs, everything starts going wrong. They lose their tag team titles. They finally lose the lantern for good back to Uncle Howdy. They start losing all their matches. These weird little Final Destination type accidents start happening to them. Tripping over themselves. Danhausen putting a curse on them could be the beginning of all that. You may be onto something there. Jeremy says, entrances were long. Imagine if Jay was there. Oh my God. Oh my God. He'd still be eating in the chamber. Michaela, safe to say LA Knight is cooked after tonight. Cooked and charred all along the sides. Well done, you might say. Toya Ain't Nice says, I'm just waiting on the Unreal episode of who came up with the crate idea. Yeah, I have an idea who that was. Chi-Town Smark. Jesse says, I'll see you on Friday here in Chicago. I'm looking forward to it. Tekla, Jesse. It's Tekla. Tekla won't be on the show, but we got a lot of other people who are going to be on the show. It's going to be good. William Lopez, I had to have a tooth pulled at the dentist the other day. I would rather go through that again than ever rewatch the show. Well, I would also imagine that having the tooth pulled didn't take nearly as long as this show did. Actually, I would wager a bet that having your tooth pulled didn't take as long as the entrances for the main event took. Retro says, my bike broke down 3 times this weekend. It was a Honda Vision. Visions are truly cursed right now. I'm sorry to hear that. Michael BS Hayes I like that. I like that name better. Michael B.S. Hayes. Funky Weapon says, fucking Danhausen. Really? No, I have never fucked Danhausen before. But thank you for the super chat. We got B, just B, says, what the fuck is a Danhausen? It's kind of complicated. I don't really know how to explain it to you. Bender McSimpson, you're not alone. 20-minute entrances are great for Twitter clips, but they ruin the match, and the fans they cater to don't care about the match. Oh, that was very evident watching this show tonight. They didn't really give a single solitary shit about that match until the last 2 minutes. Base Beer says, Danhausen attacked Fatu, like The Rock. Tooth Fairy. He does collect teeth in jars. That is true. Havili says, this is Mark. 22 years ago, WWE did an original album. Did you buy it? I heard it, and favorite song. My favorite is We Lie, Cheat, and Steal, Eddie and Chavo. They did an original album. Which album was that? They've released a lot of albums. If it was one of their like WWE The Music Volume whatever, then yeah, I heard it. But I don't have the track. You should have included some of the tracks for me. I can't give you an answer because I don't have all the songs listed in front of me. But yeah, I would have definitely listened to it. Super Pony says, I love Drew. Holy shit, his title reign has been awful. Worst one since I can't even remember. Also, LA Knight is done mid-card for life. Yeah, this was not a good night for LA Knight. This was not a good night for LA Knight. Funky Weapon. Top 3 favorite themes currently on the roster. What are my top 3 favorite things? I think Cody might be one of them, honestly. I like Cody's theme. I like Oba's theme. What are my top favorite themes? Man, I don't know. I don't know. There aren't a lot of great ones, unfortunately. Trick Williams. Yeah, I like Trick Williams. I'll put Tricks on there. Anti-M Bishop. The WWE title needs an Armageddon Hell in a Cell match in Mania. Hell, throw Nick Aldis in there. Great stream. Yeah, let's just throw everybody in there. Let's throw Danhausen in there, too. I think Danhausen should be in there. Put Ilya Dragunov in there. Kit Wilson. Oh, you're talking about the music still. Oh yeah. No, we're not putting Kit Wilson's music on the list of top 3 themes in WWE. What are you, out of your mind? You've got to be trolling me. Kit Wilson. Abyssal Zones, Knight and Balor both slipped on the same spot. Actually, it was the same corner. You're right. It was that far right corner. Holiday 197. I'm thinking that they should put the WWE title, women's title, on Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. It'll shake up the women's scene on SmackDown. If Jade retains, they'll keep it on her until Bianca is ready to return. That's what I am thinking that they will do. If they have some sense that Bianca might be back not long after Mania. I don't know. She's still really early in her rehab. So I don't know where things stand with her. Rudy, thank you for the $1.99 and then a $4.99. What if Cody gets screwed on Friday again? How many times is this man going to be screwed? My God, I hope he uses lube. What if Cody gets screwed on Friday, which leads to a Drew versus Cody 4 stages of hell match at Wrestle? I feel like I'm in the 7th circle of hell at this point. I think we have to stop screwing this poor man over.
He's sticking his tongue. WAZZZAP.
Like, what the fuck?
He's sticking his tongue. WAZZZAP.
Like, what the fuck? What's going on, Death Scythe? Super Pony, off topic, but the 2K ratings are an absolute joke. Nikki Bella has a higher rating than Kevin Owens and AJ Styles. Is that true? Does Nikki Bella have a higher rating than AJ Styles? Like, that's enough reason right there just to boycott the entire game. Colin says, the Danhausen debut felt like something from a WCW pay-per-view in 1994. It felt like, you go back even earlier than that. It felt like the debut of Oz, the great Oz. Remember Kevin Nash as Oz in WCW? Danhausen is an 89 in 2K26. How is Nikki Bella rated higher than... I would love to know the justification for that. Like Kevin Owens, I don't know. I mean, he missed most of the year. I guess I could even that's ridiculous. But like AJ Styles, how do you figure that? Like, I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense. How do they calculate these ratings? San Juan Wolf, based on how dull tonight was, I have low expectations for WrestleMania. Things are not looking great, but that is to be expected at this point. Yeah, I mean, look, you try to look for a silver lining where you can, but I mean, this WrestleMania build so far, and we still got 7 weeks, but it has not been great. It has not been great at all. Retro KOH. The Death Riders are somehow the best group in wrestling today in terms of booking and relevance. What a horrific timeline we are in. It's pretty horrific. Bobby Means, could you see Kiana James vying for that women's U.S. title? She's come a long way, and the crowd is getting behind her. Yeah, I could see her. I think, again, that title is tailor-made for someone like her. So, at some point in the not-too-distant future, I mean, I wouldn't put it on her immediately, but yes. Yes, I think that she will likely be wearing gold at some point by the summertime, I would say. Buy her before the summer. Prince Vegeta says, Michael Cole is very unbearable. The way he was verbally creaming his pants about Reigns and Punk being the biggest thing ever. I had to put the TV on mute. Well, that's his job. His job is to sell the match because it's the only solid fucking match they even have on that card right now. So he has to go all out and act like it's the greatest thing ever. Got 7 more weeks of that, by the way. Deathside says HBK lost his smile and ended up with a real injury. Seth Rollins faked an injury and ended up with a real injury. Moral of the story, don't fake an injury. Are you implying that Shawn Michaels did not have a bum knee back in 1997, as Bret Hart has suggested? Is that what I'm hearing you suggest? Ryan Hood. Hey, Angie. Welcome to the channel. Look at all the great stuff that you've missed. Ryan says, any chance Vince McMahon is secretly involved in creative? Is there a chance? Well, yes, apparently his avatar is still there, as Ronda Rousey called him once. As long as Bruce is working in creative, then Vince will always have a pipeline. I mean, he has one with Triple H. But he will always have a pipeline to WWE creative if he wants to poke his head in. So I can't sit here and tell you that there's no chance, because there absolutely is a chance. Do I think he's actively involved in creative? No, I don't. Death Scythe, hopefully if we get Obafemi answering Brock Lesnar's open challenge at WrestleMania 42, I hope it is a lot like the match that Brock had with Goldberg at WrestleMania 33. A short action-packed sprint, but with Oba going over. What are your thoughts? I think that would be great. I think that's exactly the way that I would book it. Oba goes over. Mystic J, with Rhea facing Jade, where does this leave Io? Maybe a feud with Asuka over Kairi. And just for the hell of it, throw in the US title with Julia. Well, I mean, if it's not Tiffany and... I think it was somebody asked about Tiffany. Oh, what was it? Tiffany and Io. Tiffany and Io, you know what? You could definitely make a story out of Tiffany and Io, but I just feel like it works better if Tiffany went heel, you know, because she's just very upset that Rhea beat her in the Elimination Chamber and goes after Rhea. Then Io has a reason to go after Tiffany, and then boom, you got your match made. Navy 4181, congrats to AJ. Seth Rollins for Husband of the Year. Seth Rollins for Husband of the Year? Why? What did he do? His wife lost tonight. He was in the building. He didn't even help his wife. How does that make him Husband of the Year? Jeremy Rose, imagine how Trick felt being in that pod watching all those entrances. They definitely let Randy enter the pod last because he was like, fuck that. Deathside says if Drew loses on SmackDown, then he's about to go through his own, and then the message cuts off. His own what? Ryan Hood says Rikishi attacked Jay. He did it for The Rock. Now that would be one hell of a story, wouldn't that? We have Death Scythe. 5 stages of grief. First stage, anger. Second stage, anger. Third stage, anger. Fourth stage, uncontrollable seething rage. Fifth stage, repeat stages 1 through 4. Around and around it goes. And now you leave my friend JD alone. SMG Kobe. Fatu versus Sammy is the play at Mania, I think, sadly. Fatu and Sammy. Yeah, I mean, I guess they kind of planted a potential seed for that on SmackDown last night. I don't know, man. That match... It depends on the story. Right now, I'm not feeling that. I want Fatu in the title picture. Mario Tremaine Willingham. My birthday is February 29th. So today, March 1st, is my official birth. Yeah, that is weird, isn't it? Like, if you were born on a leap year, you're kind of fucked. Right? Like this year, there is no February 29th. So technically, you have no birthday this year. It's like you were never born. It's kind of weird. But anyway, he says, so today is my official birthday. I love your streams. Keep doing what you do. Well, even though it's technically not your birthday, I will wish you a very happy birthday. That's actually kind of cool. That you were born on a day of the year that doesn't even exist every single year. Happy birthday, brother. SMG Kobe, Sammy is who they will pin attacking Jacob on earlier. What about Jay? Did he attack Jay too? Is that the play here? DJ Blind, Danhausen is Svengoolie. If you know, you know. And SMG Kobe, Drew can either face Aldis or... Oh, Well, if you're going to do that, you can't do Becky Lynch then against Jessica Carr. I mean, now we're getting a little ridiculous here. You're going to have Becky Lynch against a referee and then Drew against a general manager. But he says Drew can either face Aldis or Randy and Cody in a three-way. I still think you include Fatu in there in a four-way. But I guess you could always do Fatu and Sami Zayn. Maybe that is the match. Maybe that is the match for Sami. I don't know, man. They got 7 weeks to figure this shit out. And we got a title match on Friday. Let's see what happens with the title match. That will definitely answer some questions here. Super Pony. More awful ratings. Angle is an 87. Uncle Howdy is an 88. It's unbelievable. Mikey says, did you see Scream 7? Thoughts if you did. I have not seen it. I have not seen it. We were talking a little bit about it last night because I know it's gotten some not so great reviews, but no, I have not seen it yet. I'm sure I will at some point. I was actually thinking about going to the theater to see it, but now I've been scared off. So I just, as expensive as it is these days to go to the movies, I would much rather put that money towards Street Fighter, Masters of the Universe, and the other, was it 2 or 3 movies I think that are coming out this year? Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Toy Story, and Masters of the Universe. And then wait for Scream to hit streaming. I think that might be the play. Bad reviews, but big box. Yeah, I said I think it did 40 million domestically in its first weekend. So no matter what you think about Scream 7, clearly there's going to be Scream 8. As long as those things make money. Oh, Godzilla. Yes, that's right. That's right. Somebody did mention Godzilla -0. And then they joked. They said WrestleMania this year is a WrestleMania -0. I said, you know what? You're bang on with that. You got WrestleMania. It's not WrestleMania 42 this year. It's WrestleMania -0. Kind of feels that way. Coyote versus Acme. That's not coming out in theaters, though, is it? Yeah, when is that coming out? That movie wasn't even supposed to see the light of day. And then it got saved. But I wasn't aware there was an actual release date attached to it. But if it's coming out this year, yeah, I'll definitely see that. Deathside says, buy or sell Randy Savage's long-term Mega Power storyline with Hogan or his short-term feud with Jake. The Mega Power storyline with Hogan. But the storyline with Jake is one of my all-time favorites also. It's just, it didn't have the box office or the longevity that the Mega Powers one did. So I can't rank it above that one. But those right there, the ones that you just named, those are 2 of my all-time favorites. Not a shock that Mach was in both of them. He was great. All right, well, the goal, let me bring up the wheel. What was the goal? 420. Oh my God, I think we crushed that. 916. We might actually, I don't know, it's going to be up to you guys, but we might actually be able to hit 1,000 before we get out of here. It's going to be close. We still have 85 more to go, but it is possible. But let's go ahead and be the booker, shall we?
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the booker.
You know, I don't remember now if Danhausen is in Be the Booker. If he's not, I may have to add him in here now. We may have to get Danhausen in here. All right, Coyote versus Acme, August 28th. How about that? I did not know that. Okay. Gonna be a busy year for me at the movies. I haven't seen this many. If I see all of these movies, I don't think I've been to the movies to see that many movies in a single year since maybe I was in high school, maybe. And I already went to go see that other movie in 4DX. Send Help. That Sam Raimi movie, Send Help. That was the first one I saw this year. Hey, Mega Mr. Joker. Just became a Sound Off superstar. Thank you. Yes, channel memberships are always open and welcome, and you get access to all the emojis in the live chat and the comments. You could gift memberships to people as well. Helps the channel, and they're randomly assigned. Always puts a smile on someone's face, including mine. All right, here we go. Oh, yeah. You know what puts a smile on my face? These two guys. You know, so far this year, we have Stephanie McMahon and we have AJ Styles in the WWE Hall of Fame. And with any luck, these two will end up on that same list. Axe and Smash. Demolition. Always a good way to kick off Be the Booker. Demolition against the Creeds. Julius and Brutus. I'm going to give it a bell. Even though the Creeds have done absolutely fuck all this year. Demolition and the Creeds. Closest we'll ever get, I guess, to Demolition Steiner Brothers type match. All right, Women's Be the Booker. I made some changes today. Today was update day for Women's Be the Booker. I did men's the other day and the tag teams. And we made some updates to Women's Be the Booker. So let's see what we land on here. We're going to land on, oh my God, we just landed on her yesterday. Mighty Molly. Did we have Mighty Molly in the intergender round? I forgot what her match was yesterday. Yeah, we hit the super chat, the bonus goal yesterday. So we did an intergender round. That was the goal tonight too, but I don't think we're going to make it. But we just landed on her yesterday. And she just popped up again. Let's give this one a drum roll. Mighty Molly. Against Mickie James. I think that makes a fine professional wrestling match. Those two ladies can go. Oh, yes. Yes. It was Molly and Penta in the intergender match yesterday. I definitely gave that the bell. All right, our main event of the night. Let's see what we're going to end up with here. We end up with their bouncy boy. There he is. He was in the main event tonight in the Elimination Chamber. And he is in the main event of Be the Booker. Just added. Javon Evans making his Be the Booker debut. Your boy is bouncy. That's Javon Evans, by the way, not Javon Williams. That's always my reaction when we land on this photo. I just, what is this? You know what? I have to do it. I have to. I would like to see this match. The Painmaker. The Painmaker. Chris Jericho. Taking on Javon. I don't know why. Oh man. Can you imagine if this popped out of the crate tonight? This version of this, he's swole. Look at him, man. He's looking at his physique. He's looking at the biceps here. If this version of Jericho popped out of the crate tonight. Oh. Well, hey, we got to look at that. We got a clean sweep. He's definitely making some pain in that pit. Oh. It's one of my favorite options that we occasionally land on there and be the booker. I wish I could remember what match that was from. Obviously, that was New Japan. I don't remember who he was wrestling. Arabian Night says WWE crowds the last 2 months sound comatose. 3,000 for AEW are louder. Revolution will be twice as loud as the Elimination Chamber. Great in-ring matters to fans, not entrances and ads. Well, it's two very distinctly different audiences. That much is for sure. Tanahashi, Okada. He wrestled Naito once. I don't know. It could be from any of those matches. He was the Painmaker in a few different matches there. Said that. Wrestling with cholesterol. Maze the Great. Solo, you should really raise the Be the Booker goals because with how great you are and how many people watch these streams, these likes are too paltry. 400 is not. Well, it's the wheel. I mean, look, take a look at the wheel here. If you zoom in on that there, I actually updated some of the values on the wheel and made them a little bit bigger. You know, you want to have one or two smaller ones on there, but I think now we have 600 likes. There might be 700 on there. It's up to the wheel. It's like MJF the other night on Dynamite, leaving everything to chance with his coin. It's up to the wheel. Maybe I'll make the values on there even bigger. We'll see. Broly says the Jobber and Meme debuted on PLE in front of 19,000, while Mariah and Ricky debuted in the PC. Whose idiotic idea was it to debut him on pay-per-view? That would be Paul Levesque. It's what we do. It's what they do, brother. Deathside says also, what would you say is the best one night only storyline? Mine is No Mercy for Triple H at No Mercy 2007. A one night only storyline? Jey Uso being taken out of the Elimination Chamber this year. It's my favorite storyline. No yeet. And Navy 4181. Who should induct Demolition and AJ Styles? John Cena should induct AJ Styles. And as far as Demolition, I don't know. I mean, New Day beat Demolition's record, right? Is the long no, but then Usos beat. I don't know. I would just say find probably find like a modern current day tag team to do it. Because there's really nobody in WWE, I don't think, that really has any sort of direct connection to either one of these guys at this point. So I would just say pick a tag team, and then it just comes down to, I don't know, do you go with the Usos? Do you go with the New Day? Probably just a tag team. I don't think there's anybody, in particular. At least that's currently working for the company. As far as somebody outside the company, I don't know. Maybe they would want to, recommend like a friend of theirs in the business. Maybe the Powers of Pain. Barbarian and Warlord are still around. And Bader Muhammad, $10 super chat, says, hello, I watched that infamous segment of the Cobra biting Randy Savage. That scene of the kids in the crowd legitimately crying. And the Cobra posing in the ring with Jake was unbelievable. It's creepy as hell. Like the way that Jake is crouched in the corner, and then the snake is in the ring, and the way the snake is just, it's sitting there, but like it's poking its head up and it's like watching all the mayhem outside. Like you would almost think it was like an animatronic snake. Like it wasn't, but like that shot of the snake is just like the money shot. Like that's just unbelievable. It's an angle I saw when I was very young. And it sticks with, I wasn't super duper young, but like I was young enough to where it had an impact on me too. And to this day, I mean, I remember it clear as day. Like, how can you forget? It's very well done. Super Pony says, Triple H booked NXT to perfection. What happened, TKO? Well, Triple H and, was it Ryan Ward or... Not Ryan Ward. Ryan Ward, Ryan Katz. Ryan Katz. Someone was helping Triple H out. Let's not give him all the credit. But yes, NXT back then, much smaller roster. Not on television the way it is now. Not live on television. No TKO to answer to. His priorities were very different then than they are now. Let's just put it that way. This is not the same person. And Deathside says, I thought yours would have been King of the Ring 93. Yeah, but that was a one-night pay-per-view. I don't look at that as a one-night storyline, though. I was thinking of actual storylines. That was the kickoff to a long-term feud between Bret Hart and Jerry Lawler that went on literally for years. But, I mean, if you want to count that, then sure, that would be my number one. That's my favorite pay-per-view of all time. So if you want to count that, then absolutely. Also, the best Bret Hart Kurt Hennig match, also on that show. Yeah, Mr. Fuji was already inducted into the Hall of Fame. I don't remember what year, but he's already in. Anyway, thank you guys for the incredible stream tonight and all the great support. You guys killed it. We came very close to 1,000 likes during the live stream. We usually don't have an issue getting there after the fact, but we almost got there here on the live stream, which is great. And I think we broke down the Elimination Chamber as best we could. I'll have some more thoughts on it. I'm going to sleep on it. We'll see if there's any other news that coming out of the show. I'm sure I will talk about it on the Sound Off in the morning. We'll talk all of the Elimination Chamber fallout, what's coming up on SmackDown this week, and a bunch of other news and notes, a bunch of mailbag questions. It's going to be a big podcast tomorrow. That's going to be episode 953 of the Sound Off. So you will not want to miss that show. So I hope you will join me for that. Y2J beating Triple H for the belt only for the decision to be reversed. That was a great one too. It's actually one of my favorite Raw moments of all time. Man, you talk about a hot crowd. Man, you know, you guys are naming like all of these different moments. And I'm just thinking of like the crowds compared to the crowds that we have had recently in WWE, and what a fucking difference. Holy shit. What the hell happened? Hey, James, channel member for 56 months. Thank you, brother. Hope you're doing well. See, listen to Falcon Star. Falcon Star says Solomonster Sounds Off is a must listen. See, this guy, he knows game, man. He knows ball. Thank you, Falcon Star. Do you record the podcast in the mornings? I record as early as I can. Sometimes I'm still not done putting notes together. There's breaking news even on Sundays. Of course, what usually happens is I'll do an entire show and then get the show out, and then Sunday night there'll be breaking news. Hopefully tomorrow will not be one of those days. But yeah, I don't like doing them piecemeal unless I'm going to be away. I have to leave. I'm not going to be around. I wake up in the morning. I have breakfast. I get my shit together and as early as I possibly can. And sometimes it might not be until 11 a.m. or 12, but I hit record and I get going on the podcast and try to get it out as soon as I can. Usually mid-afternoon. So just keep your eyes peeled. You guys know the drill. Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Of course, don't forget the Uncrowned Wrestling Show. That's every Tuesday on the Ariel Helwani feed. We'll have fun with that this week as well. All right, so I think that's everything. I think I got everybody. Thank you again. Be well. Stay safe. Have yourselves a great rest of your night. I got another show to do here in a few hours, and I will see you tomorrow for 9:53, and then back here live on YouTube Monday night. All the fallout from the Elimination Chamber on Monday Night Raw. Until then, take care, guys.